Live from the Low Key Studio for this Thursday, the 15th of February, it's Back Pocket. Brought to you as always by our wild and wonderful Back Pocketeer patrons. This week starring Steph Ben Dixon.
Say any game that comes to your head that came out last year.
Spider-Man. Peter Burns.
Why did you do that? There you go.
There are so many instances of you miming wanking, and it's always way too realistic. That's better. Gus Ronald.
That wasn't a bit.
And our special guest producer for ABC Gamer and all-round video game mastermind, Joe Reardon. And behind the scenes, it's Josh, Will, Ben, and Ruby. Tonight on the show, we challenge times in Halo and see what's on other screens. Now get ready, it's time for Back Pocket! Welcome to Back Pocket! Good to have you here. Welcome, chat. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, Joe.
Hey.
King of show, apparently.
King of show.
King of
Nice.
show, Joe.
For today-
He designed me to be king of the show.
Yeah.
Designed you to...
Yeah, you drew me as the king in the Spawn Point credits.
Did I?
Yeah. Remember like the little animation? I was the king on the throne. You
Oh,
were like,
yes.
that's me.
That was you on the credits, and you had the cheese sandwich, toasty pile, and everything.
Wow.
God, that unlocked a memory.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'm gone.
In case it isn't already apparent, this is Joe, also known as Gog. We worked with him for years on Good Game,
All
yeah,
the years you were on Good Game.
all the years
every year.
you were on
Every
Good
year.
Game,
And you're still kind of there.
I'm still there. Yeah, it's different now.
Predates
It's still
all
there.
of us,
Yeah.
and is responsible for a lot of the stuff that we did on the show, the writing and the producing, and yes, I often tell people was responsible for going through the many thousands of questions we get into Ask Spawn Point every week.
I'm the Ask Spawn Point guy.
He's-
If your question didn't get answered on the show, you can blame me.
We're having a request for a microphone back there.
Oh.
I wanted to know, how do you do a redstone
Not a
circuit in
redstone.
Redstone?
No, not
in
redstone.
Minecraft?
Redstone
Well,
microphone.
you get some redstone and you put it in a circuit and then you put a redstone torch on it. That activates it, or a switch, and then you can turn
And,
it on.
and
or
how
off.
do you
Thank you.
build
There you go.
Thank you.
a working computer?
You'd be a massive nerd.
We just featured those. We didn't describe how to build
Yeah,
those.
yeah,
It's like, and
I
look
don't
what
want to say
someone did.
I don't want to say I don't like Minecraft anymore, but just watching how deep that game got and how people got into it to such a complex level, and that you would be aware of them, and they were all 5. I was like, I don't need this in my life. I don't need kids creating circuitry and all that kind of stuff. Just maybe I literally only know the circuitry, but I saw some of the shit they made, and I was just like,
They make like working Game Boys and stuff. You know?
yeah.
I play a lot of
Go outside. No,
I play
Get a real Game Boy.
exactly.
I play a lot of survival crafting games, and there's always this blissful period when the game comes out where I go and I build something, and I don't let myself look at what people are building on YouTube to make myself feel bad about what I've made, because it's a wonderful tool to be able to go, oh, of course, it's a great idea, or that's possible, or you could use things in all these different ways that I hadn't even considered. And so I like to just be in this place where I'm like, I'm going to build a square house. And then I finish it and I'm like, that's good. And then I go
It's
on
a square.
yeah. And I'm
There's
like,
some garden
I
out
made
the
that.
front.
Yeah. It's got a door, it's got windows. And then I go on YouTube and I'm like, holy shit. So I'm in that space now with Enshrouded, and I'm just letting myself live there for a bit before I start looking at the
Exploring.
broad range of things that are possible.
Yep.
But yeah, no, Joe, years you wrote so much of the stuff that we worked on, produced, all that kind of stuff. Basically, we've subjugated to just play everything, even if you weren't needing to write something about it. You basically took it on yourself to play most things that came through the office.
I just like to play games.
No, but there was that. But it was also you're one of the few people I know who's married the hobby with the work for the amount of time you have, and you're not dead inside when it comes to enjoying
Only
this medium.
slightly dead.
All right, they're good. That's all I wanted.
But you still have a passion for video games.
Well, they're cool.
They're very cool. You're jaded in the industry that you work in, and that makes sense.
Well, yeah. I mean,
But
I've
video games live
been
on.
around.
Yeah,
I've
you've
seen
been
it
around.
all.
You've been around.
Well, you look great.
We should also point out that anytime that Gus had an opinion in a segment called "In My Opinion," that was your opinion.
Well, let's be fair. Anytime.
No, cat out of the bag here.
I was being
I had no opinions.
Well, we would always discuss. Anytime I wrote a script for anyone on the show,
I threw in-
we would usually have a bit of a back and forth. I never wanted to put words in anyone's mouth that they didn't want to say.
Joe, I'll be honest.
Like,
I phoned it in. I wasn't really. I just
well,
felt
at
like-
least you
But those
at least
digital-
you signed off on it, and you're like, I'm comfortable to say these words. I don't know what I'm saying, but
It's
I
on
will say them.
It was on an auto sheet.
I trust you haven't written some horrible thing for me to say.
But those digital essays were like massive,
The bigger ones that we did for
well-researched
Yeah,
things.
totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, in my opinion, one like that was an interesting segment because that was just pure opinion, and I didn't love doing those, to be honest, because it's a bit more just like we're trying to be fired up about something and find something to be like, let's
why
pick at that.
We were going
rather
more for
than-
that like up late or the like late
John
talk.
Oliver,
yeah,
yeah,
totally.
kind of
Those
vibe.
late night talk shows where it was like I have to be angry or just have an opinion
Yeah.
on it. And like famously, our show was not meant to have strong opinions on
Yeah.
things, or at least the network we were on. So it was kind of like we got away with some stuff that I wasn't aware that we could.
Well, it wasn't that we weren't supposed to have strong opinions. It was just hard that I think that we had to marry the idea of it being a review show with it being an entertainment show.
Yeah.
And being on television, it had to be entertaining. And so obviously, like when you're reviewing a game, you have your own personal feelings about something as well. And some of us like different genres of games more than others. And so that's always going to color the review. And that's why it's nice to have more than one person. But it meant that like, it's really hard to, all I ever wanted to do in reviews was just talk about the beautiful things that I enjoyed and how it made me feel.
Yeah.
And then I had to go into this thing of like, oh, but this is a
pants.
review, so I have to talk about like how do the guns feel and how does the level
Yeah.
design. And I was always like, ugh.
Joe, how do
But it's
guns
pretty.
feel?
I was talking about the emotions. Because to me,
They
the guns
feel
felt
good.
like
Yeah.
like they went pew 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 instead of tick tick tick.
Yeah.
But we
You know?
got to
That's
dabble into a
important.
few things that occasionally
is
those
important.
IMO segments we'd be like, okay, we're going to talk about the current policymakers in the US and how that's really changing something really massive that's going to have a sort of full-on effect or a trickle-on effect for gaming. And I'd be like, can I insert some Simpsons quotes? And you're like, yes, you can.
Where
It's
can
like,
I put the Simpsons in this
it was
one?
pretty much that. It was pretty much that.
I
So-
almost always tried to write a Simpsons meme into
Oh,
a script for you.
and I appreciate it. Don't you dare think I
Put the
did
hat
for a
meme
second.
in there, Gus.
Hey.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, good. The hat. We did the hat.
We did the hat meme.
Oh, good times. Gosh, we had a good time.
The guns felt ugh. I like that. That's a good description. And I feel like I know what that is. I know what a gun that goes ugh. I
Yeah.
know what that is. I know how that feels.
Ugh.
Yeah, ugh. It just
Yeah.
it's just like ugh.
When it feels good, it feels good. When it's
Yeah.
like
You want
No
to
one
thwack
feels
and not a
good,
thwop.
yeah.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
true. That's true.
That's an opinion I do have.
I find the best thing is when they make a slightly different sound when you kill something. You need that
A little ting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Get that, just that little.
And how's life now? Are you what are you playing at the moment?
At the moment, a bit of Helldivers, bit of Halo, bit
Good.
of played through Suicide Squad, but I'm not touching that again.
Neither am I.
Yeah.
But you finished
Neither
it.
am I.
I finished it. Yeah, I did some
I
endgame
did.
stuff.
Again, this is a man who loves games enough that he'll finish Suicide Squad.
I know. I
It wasn't that long. It wasn't that long.
I did a sponsored post for Suicide Squad, and like I enjoyed it fine. I realized it wasn't
It's a
ideal.
fine game.
But I had somebody come and was like, after putting in 60 hours into this game, I'm happy to tell you that it's trash. And I'm like, but you played it for 60 hours.
Yeah.
Stop earlier.
Yeah.
See, that game has good gun feel. I think the gun feel is pretty good, but the combat's messy.
Yes.
You know, like I like to play as
Who'd you play as?
Deadshot a lot because you can actually kind of just hover and like shoot from a distance, and you can control the mess a bit better.
Can you please make the gun impact noise of Deadshot? Okay.
I don't know actually.
That sounds good.
Something like that.
That sounds good.
It's a little.
My weapon
Yeah.
of choice.
Yeah. The boomerang.
Yeah.
Thought I'd be better at that.
That was perfect.
Yeah,
Thought
that's
I'd be
good.
better at that.
that's
Just
good,
end up
that's good.
spitting a lot. Yeah, I'm happy with that.
We don't have stereo, do we?
No.
These are all mono. These
We're not going
lines.
to run around the room and do it on each mic.
Can you? Can you?
It sounded really gross in my ears. So.
Excellent.
Okay, that's good.
That's all I'm here for. And just
As
we-
does most things that Gus
That's
says
true.
on a daily
That's
basis. Yeah.
What's your favorite gun in Destiny 2?
Oh, I still roll with one of those Deep Stone Crypt, the automatic.
The
Scout
precision rifle,
the precision
the
scout
scouts.
rifle,
Yep.
yeah, with like
but
the
you can
flame.
hold it.
You just hold it, you're automatic and
Sick gun.
We
Can't remember
haven't-
what it's called.
we
Sick
haven't-
gun.
But
Yeah.
see, the sound that you made just then is like you default to that because I feel like that's how you want to describe gun feel to people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I have a favorite machine gun in Destiny, and I like it because I feel like it goes tick 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 tick, as
Yep.
opposed to other machine guns that go doof 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 doof.
Yep.
And
Is it a heavy machine gun or a?
It's a heavy.
heavy, yeah.
Yeah. But it's like it just feels more satisfying to shoot because
Yeah.
the doof 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 feels like it's
Too
soft
heavy.
and pillowy.
Interesting.
Yeah. Okay.
we
You're
haven't had a
tick, tick,
guest
tick,
on the
tick,
show that we've known well enough to have a conversation this stupid.
This is deep game critique.
don't
here,
get me wrong,
like-
Where the
this-
conversation
This
should
was
be.
the shit we talked about every day in the office. So I'm like, oh, I'm so glad we're back to that as well. Just
Can I
like,
touch on You can go to the segment if you want.
No, I was feeling the move on energy from Gus.
No, not at all.
No, we got time. I want to talk about your toe.
Really?
What do you mean? Really?
Yeah,
Why?
because it's
She
broken.
got so
That's
excited.
interesting.
Why do you want to talk?
I want to hear what people have broken around the horn.
I asked. I do Twitter Google a doctor.
Yeah, I know.
Where I ask everyone, I'm like, is this?
Oh, I know.
What's this rash look like to you? People are like, go to a doctor, and I'm like, no, I know what you think. And so I bashed my toe on the like side of a door frame because Scardy had an operation on her back and she's not allowed to jump. And I was like, I saw her going to jump up onto the bed, and I was like, no. And as I was running, I like slammed my foot into the door, and I instantly felt a level of pain that was like, oh, this is fucked.
Yeah.
And
We've all kicked a toe, so just describing it makes everyone wince.
Yeah. But like whether or not it's broken or sprained or whatever, it determines how long I'm gonna have to like be off it. And I dance a lot, so I was just like, this is fine, right, guys? This is fine. If I can still put weight on it, and I can still move it, but it just hurts a lot. That's fine. It's not broken. Everyone's like, it could be broken. One time I broke a finger, when another person's like, I'm a paramedic, and depending on the amount of bruising, and it was just like so much information, but I was just like, this is good. An aggregate of information is what I need.
Yeah.
Because really, if I Googled, it'd probably be worse.
I think we taped up your toe this morning. I think we did a good job.
I think it was
Is that
fun.
what you were
Who needs a
after? When this
doctor?
conversation started, you're like, I taped up a toe. Well done.
No. I want it because
Oh, okay.
you reckon you broke a rib last week.
I have. I've
Yeah.
got
You've
a
been to a
hairline
doctor?
fracture on a rib.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so I got that, and then I
Yeah.
got my heart broken this week, but that was just Valentine's Day.
Oh.
Let's dig into that.
Let's get into that.
Let's move to that.
Oh, it hurts to laugh and be sad.
Did you really, or is that a bit?
Who knows? We'll talk about it later. That's move on energy.
That's move on.
Joe,
energy.
you broken anything?
No, I've never broken
Well, I
anything
think-
that I'm aware of. Maybe I've got the hairline fracture.
that's
Maybe
a
you've
flex.
broken hearts.
Maybe I'm sure I've broken.
Ah, there you
Sure.
have it. Bet you bloody have.
Yeah.
Any weird scars?
That you can show on
I
camera.
mean, it's not a weird scar, but I have a big scar on my back from a melanoma getting taken out. Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
that's
That's
cool.
something to be like,
That's a
kind
cool
of.
scar.
Yeah, that's something to be like, wear as a little badge of honor. You're like, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sensible.
Yeah.
I don't
I
slip, slap,
mean-
slap, but I get him. I get him
I
cut
slip,
out.
slap, slap
You
the
would?
shit out of
Yeah,
myself.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
I'm
Look at us,
yeah,
fucking
pasty
Oh,
redhead.
Pasty
like,
boys.
Yeah. Scotland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should we move on?
I have a
Get your skin
wonky
checked if
finger.
you're worried.
Okay.
Have you ever seen it?
Yes, you've shown me many times.
Ruby, have you seen my wonky finger?
Let's not do the broken. Ruby's shown me the broken toe pic. We're not going to do it. Maybe post show.
broken toe what?
No.
No, well, don't cut to the camera of you.
What is it?
She's gonna show the broken toe pic. Don't do it.
Oh, I'd love to see it.
Big
I'd
pic
love to
this
see
Not for
it.
early.
free. Not for
Yeah.
free.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm still unbroken.
Yeah.
I'm still unbroken.
Let's kick things off with a fresh new take on a little bit of backup.
A fresh new take. Oh, it's me. Oh, it's you. And that's how you broke your toe.
Wow. Wow.
Really fucking hurts a lot.
We can't help being so entertaining.
That's it.
A little bit of backup is sponsored by Reese Wild.
What laugh
was that?
A little more on that one.
Give us a. Give me.
It might have been too quiet.
Probably
Stream
was.
would have heard it.
I heard it. One more time.
Oh.
Is it an elite?
It certainly is.
Ah, yeah.
Is it an elite laugh?
But we would have gone for the
sounded
more
like a brute.
classical.
Yeah,
I was
maybe a
leaning towards
brute.
brute.
Maybe a brute.
Yeah,
I'll
I
give you a
would have gone for the
brute.
more traditional.
It's elite.
Well, yeah, that is
Yeah.
a what.
I'm good at that.
Yep. Okay.
Steph?
Well, another sound we should listen to is the wild sound that Reese Wild supplies us every week that we have to try and guess what kind of animal it is. And I love these because I always think that I'm like pretty good at this stuff for some reason.
You
And
are.
then
You identify creatures well.
I watch a lot of animal
I was
videos.
gonna say you watch a lot of Attenborough.
I watch a lot of Attenborough, and I would say that 80% of what I am served on social media based on my viewing preferences are animal videos.
All right.
God, I hope it's an elite.
Hit it. Yeah.
Take us to the wild.
It's a jackal. Okay. No, I've got it already.
Sounds like an organ.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's squeaking.
Yeah.
Lorikeet?
That is.
We'll get a guess.
Yeah.
Far off. No, you've got one.
That is an army of mice on a on an organ, but it's actually a keyboard that is set to organ mode.
Confusing. Yeah.
Because the keys are too light for
They're
them.
also not called organs. They're called like something else. I'm gonna say birds on an organ or a harp, whatever they're called.
I'm gonna say it's like a cockatoo,
No.
like whacking at a
Two.
accordion.
Not a cockatoo either.
No, cockatoo. Steph, 80% of them, you get them right.
Can I think it's I think it's a hamster.
Just full stop.
A hamster.
Yeah.
A very
With
untalented.
gas.
Someone's just playing the accordion in the
A
background.
hamster that is
Maybe
Hang
yeah,
on.
it's on a piano.
hamster. Survey says. Okay,
What is
Right.
it?
Let's have a reveal.
let's have a reveal. What
is
was that
it?
noise in the wild? Monkeys.
Otters!
Otters.
It's otters.
It's otters playing a piano!
Oh my god! Look at the little fingers.
I love it.
Wow, they're really going for it.
Yeah.
The one in the middle like has a song in mind.
Yeah, yeah. He's
And everyone
like
back off.
Rachmaninoff, you know.
In the Garden of Eden.
Another Simpsons reference.
There it is.
That's a very creative take on an animal sound. I like it.
Reese,
I
you
like it.
You kicked it out of the park.
He was like, "You're gonna love this,
you
chap."
nailed the break. You nailed the break.
There you go.
They gotta
We
get
did love
funnier
it.
and cuter from there. So no pressure.
Well, thank you so much for sponsoring the show and being a very beloved patron of Back Pocket. For a little bit of backup this week, we're going to do something a little bit different.
Yeah, what's this hot fresh take?
Fresh take. I just thought I would do a little bit of show and tell. Just a little bit of show and tell. Yeah.
A graphic.
What's that?
It's a graphic. It's
I
a waste
have,
of time.
I have PlayStation Portal.
Tell us more.
PlayStation sent me one.
It matches your mic.
Well,
Yeah.
I brought my own mic.
I'm required to tell you that it is a remote player that allows you to play your PS5 games over Wi-Fi. It is not a console.
Requirements.
Requirements met.
Very nice.
When you're referring to the PlayStation Portal, you have to ensure that people know that it's a remote player. So,
That was in an email.
yeah,
When referring to the.
it's very important.
Yeah.
For any
Involved.
further questions,
Involved,
please
yeah.
contact you.
Does
Yeah.
not play games.
It does not play. It
Streams
does not play
games.
games. It streams games. It is a device to stream games
Yep.
from your own PS5. We went through the process of kind of connecting it at home, and I guess just playing different games on it and sort of testing the sort of Wi-Fi latency and stuff like that. Kind of depends on your Wi-Fi connection and your Wi-Fi speed. Previously, I've not just using remote play in general
At all. Yeah, okay.
I've found it's not been like super great, like
Yeah.
when I've been trying to stream to my laptop and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But when I booted this up, it was pretty good. I was like surprised at like how I didn't feel like there was heaps of lag, but again, I think that feels
Results may vary. kind of.
results may
may
vary.
vary, yeah.
It really depends on your Wi-Fi connection. And also, I mean, I was playing like action adventure games. Maybe if you're playing like a multiplayer shooter or something like that, then you would notice
Totally.
sort of input lag and stuff like that. So
I guess more to do with like it's because the PS remote app exists. I've got it on my phone. I've used it with other things, but the form factor of this is what's wild. It's
Yeah.
like
yeah, and it still has all of like kind of the haptics and stuff that the DualSense controller has. So it's
Peter
still
loves them.
that you hate, but I think
Not a
it's
fan.
important to
enough,
have
fair
in
enough.
there so that you feel like you're still getting the PlayStation experience when you're playing this. The screen is
you
really
do, you
nice.
do,
The
you do
screen is
left one, I'll
beautiful,
do the
yeah.
right one when you're getting the PlayStation experience. Go again.
Oh, the PlayStation experience.
Thank you.
The screen is really, really nice, which I think is important. And it has. I was surprised that it doesn't have like a touch screen full capability. Like my instinct is to kind of want to go along the cross media bar with my finger,
Yeah.
but it brings up these two little
Pads.
which I think are to sort of take the place of the what do you call that main button on the?
I call it the middle fat button.
the middle fat button.
That one.
Oh yeah. Whoa, what an angle.
The old
Chunker.
swipey boy.
TM.
Yeah.
TM.
Swipe around. Yeah.
So wait, is there any touch padding at all?
Yes,
Okay.
but it's like in these specific use case scenarios that
Right.
you swipe on them and stuff like that in games.
Yeah, interesting.
But
Most-
because
yeah.
there is some touchpad functionality that makes me instantly want to do this, and then I
Yeah.
have to remind myself that I can't. But you could just control it like you would.
It's a controller.
Your
I mean, it is like it's a dual sense controller
With a screen in the middle.
with the screen in the
Man.
middle.
Yes, you may.
Thank you kindly.
And I think obviously like the scenario of this is you're playing on TV. If you want to keep playing in bed, you can just instantly connect that, and it's going to continue your sort of gaming experience in a different location. Where I think it really shines is for people who have households where there's like a lot of TV traffic, families and kids and stuff like that, where people are using the TV and you really want to play a PlayStation, you don't have another TV, then you don't have to sort of sacrifice or fight over the sort of screen time and stuff like that, which is pretty great.
Yeah.
For me, like console play is just usually in front of a TV, but we are 2 people in a house, so it's not such a big deal. But when this was first pitched, I couldn't really see the point of it, and then once I had it, and I spoke to a few other people that had one, I was like, oh, okay, I totally get how it's like going to be a super valuable thing for a lot of people.
Yeah, it's a luxury item still though. Like in a good way, it's like it's definitely not a I need.
Everyone
this.
knows a PlayStation is going to want to get one of those.
Yeah. Sorry, Joe.
It is $329, so it's not cheap.
Yeah.
But I guess
You're paying that
for the quality of the screen
the
and
controller
and for the haptics
screen
and all that
together.
kind of stuff.
That
Yeah.
comes out in the wash. Like I can see that price, but
Yeah.
it's again, it's a niche
I was
item.
gonna say it's way too niche for me. Like, it doesn't. If it doesn't work with everything else,
Yeah.
why would you get that when you can get a similar device, a tablet that can do remote play, can do Game Pass, can
And
do
But I think
everything
also,
else.
but I feel
something
like,
else.
Something
but I
else.
feel like
Yeah.
also you're probably primarily an Xbox guy, and I
to
feel like
be fair, I've played
the-
more PlayStation than my Xbox recently.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I feel like the PlayStation also is like still the most used console in
yeah.
Australia. So if for people who are like PlayStation fans and most of their games are on PlayStation, I can see this being an extension of the console that would be useful.
Yeah.
To
Do you
them.
know
My
what?
thing is I'm not in a position where I need to make the concessions required to warrant using that. Because by picking that up,
Yeah.
you're making concessions on frame rate, just input lag, and it's minor stuff, but like it doesn't feel bad to play, does it? Like
Nah, it feels good.
It
It's
feels tight. But you're not playing Call of Duty on that because every time you die, you're going, oh, it's because I wasn't quite at the same kind of like, I didn't have the same kind of accessibility that everyone else had. There's the
And
same
on this connection, there's like
setup.
no visual artifacts. It doesn't look like I'm game streaming. It looks good.
Yeah.
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 For
it does.
me,
it's great.
it's as someone who started dabbling quite a lot with remote access play for using their phone. So I got a new phone recently that I was like, I like this big screen. I want to use it. I mentioned I got a Backbone recently that I've been using, and that uses the PS Remote app to use it if I'm at home. So I can use that on my phone. Screen is obviously smaller, but I can also use Game Pass. I can set it up for Steam Deck at home and use that remotely. And my internet's or my Wi-Fi is strong enough to use that. But what I think the selling point on this is, and what I think they've done well, and I think people will buy it for this, that form factor is PlayStation. It is PlayStation 5. And if you have a PlayStation 5 and you love it, and you are in their ecosystem, and you have the DualSense and you love that, and you have the PSVR 2 perhaps, but more potentially the headphones
thin.
called the Sony... What are they called?
Oh, where are the buds?
The
Well, there's
buds are
the
just
buds,
there.
but there's
the
also
buds.
the cans.
The 3D
and everything,
sound, yeah.
If you have your little, setup with all your PlayStation stuff here, this looks great. This is a lovely little thing to have.
These are pretty cool.
Like but every little piece of their design around it has this same molded white plastic kind of vibe, which I totally get a kick out of. I love looking at that. I want that because I love how that would sit next to all my PlayStation paraphernalia. But that said, I could buy a Backbone for $120 and it does almost the same thing. The screen is remarkably bigger, and I actually do really like that. I think that's on,
screen
like,
is the best part of
that's
that for
Steam
sure.
Deck.
Yeah,
That's
it's-
bigger than a Steam Deck maybe, or just on par. So that's what current handhelds are trying to be, all the
Yeah,
remote
yeah.
PCs. So I get that. But again, for me, it's the fact that they've gone hardcore on chopping a controller that I really love in half, and then going, ooh, I'm just going to
It's
stretch
pretty,
it.
it's pretty humorous. Like the design's literally.
It looks ridiculous,
Yeah.
but it also just feels like...
It makes sense to me, and I feel like it feels ergonomic, and it also just it references the thing that the
I even
design of
dabbled
the
with
console.
the El Cheapo option, which is the $20 mount that you put on your controller, and then you click your phone screen above it.
Yeah.
And the weight of it is having a screen or a mobile device over your hands as you hold your hands together like that. It's not good. It's like you
Yeah,
can maybe
yeah.
get 20
You
minutes
twist your
before.
wrists forward,
So
yeah.
the Switch style, or whatever you want to call this traditional, like you can hold that for hours. That's
Yeah.
the thing, especially with how well that's molded. But again, for me, as a someone who likes design. It's a mess, but I love it. Like it's.
I guess
and
my
it
big
feels
question
very-
with it is Sony came out today, or someone at Sony came out and said PlayStation's entering end of life. Would this work with the next PlayStation? You know, is this an investment or is this just?
Yeah, but I also I question what end of life means because
It's got
the
3-4 years.
The last console
Totally,
generation was 8 years.
Plenty of breathing room.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think if it's entering the second stage of its life, we're like halfway.
Well, no,
I
think-
feel like if you're going to get 4 years out of this, I think that's
But even if not,
Plenty.
100% yes. Like this is not using any hardware. It's purely software. It's using software and internet. That the controller would still be PlayStation's buttons and pads. So there's no way if the new one did for some reason come out that they wouldn't give this the capability. Why would it be limited to it?
So might be surprised,
so
like
they
the
could sell the
PSVR 1
Portal,
didn't support.
the Portal 6.
I mean, they'll upgrade it, but it would still work on this. It should, by all accounts, still work on this. That's me. That's a guarantee. If you bought
That's
one
a
of these,
guarantee.
this
Does
will
the
work
DualShock
on the
DualShock
PlayStation
work
6.
on the PS5?
And that's a
The DualShocks
taking
don't
the
work
bank.
on the PS5, do they?
And I don't think the PSVR 1 works on the PS5. I could be
Yeah.
wrong on that, but I don't think it does.
I'm pretty sure they don't
have a
traditionally
great
do
history
backwards
of it.
compatibility with their controllers and peripherals.
Look,
so
you
I
might be
doubt,
right, but there's no reason
genuinely
this
doubt
shouldn't.
they would.
But I'm saying
I
this
agree.
shouldn't-
I
this
agree
shouldn't
they
age.
should, but I don't think they will.
What's the battery life like?
I mean, I haven't used it for long enough to drain the battery, but
Yeah.
I think it's pretty decent. I
Yep.
think it also depends on the game that you're playing and like the brightness that you have.
Brightness, yes. Game, no, wouldn't it be? Because again, it's using the hardware of the
Oh, yeah.
PlayStation.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I know what you mean. It's one of those things that might vary from product to product. So
Yeah.
it's interesting. It's interesting. I thought Gus would make a good snake oil salesman. Thank you, Limbo. Cool.
Meadow says, I had a friend streaming from the Portal in Los Angeles from his PS5 in Melbourne. I was just about to say that's the thing I haven't tested, and that sounds like it works great.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. It does need to be on a Wi-Fi connection.
But it doesn't need to be the same Wi-Fi.
Doesn't need to be the same. So you can be on Wi-Fi at work, and you can have your PlayStation set up at home on the Wi-Fi there. And as
Yeah.
long as both of those connections are decent,
Yeah.
then you're getting.
You could theoretically play it in a Macca's if the Macca's Wi-Fi was good enough.
Ooh, no. I don't know. I haven't frequented a Macca's Wi-Fi for a while. Here's the sentence. And yeah, I don't know if they would, but
I will say a lot of public Wi-Fi's like Macca's and stuff like that, they won't have the same NAT requirements. And,
Oh, sure.
and like,
Yeah.
there's a bunch of different. A lot
Yeah.
of them will probably block a lot of Sony servers too, just out of security and all sorts of stuff. So well, public Wi-Fi probably a no-no, but yeah.
Way to ruin the Macca's plan.
Yeah,
the magic is buying the premium Wi-Fi package on an overseas flight and that working. I don't know if it would. I'm sure that's pretty shit, but you can do that on some flights. You can buy like proper Wi-Fi.
Oh yeah, the ones where you
proper
have
is that
where you, the ones where you have
Dunno.
to, where you have to
Probably
sign
depend.
into public Wi-Fi. Yeah, that would be that wouldn't work. Yeah.
It's interesting. It's a weird one as well. And PlayStation, again, for credit we're giving them, have made some weird. Like, I mean, PSVR 2 is the latest one that's like the support for that hasn't been amazing, and it's a very expensive piece of tech on a very expensive piece of tech. I want to use it more, but there's just no reason. And I'm like, and they double down. They're like, we made another thing that's expensive and you might not need, but you like.
They make great hardware.
They make great hardware.
I feel like they're probably going to sell out here. I think.
Probably.
Well, that's the other thing. I thought this was out like months ago, but no, it's only just actually come
think
out.
in America it was
announced.
out.
Yeah,
while ago,
I think
and then we
they-
had a
I think
later
they've
release.
gone pretty nuts overseas, so I wouldn't be surprised if the same thing happens here. I think it's just like, yeah, it just depends on your gaming habits and whether or not it's a worthwhile purchase for you. But I think anyone who plays a lot of PlayStation games, bar maybe like super.
If you're playing
competitive
a
shooters.
Spider-Man, a God of War, Valhalla, there's
Final
some of the things
Fantasy.
we've tested on that. It plays great.
Yeah.
Like,
you want to
it's
play
a-
in bed,
it's
on the
enough.
toilet, get a Portal.
As I said, if you really can't part with it and you just need to keep gaming as you get up and make frequent loose
Portal
stops.
on the potty.
Portal on the potty.
Yeah.
That should be their ad campaign.
Peter can be my snake oil salesman as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Sick. That was show and tell.
Bye-bye.
What should we do next, Gus?
No, you throw to what we've been playing.
Then I throw to what we've been playing. No, it says his name in the thing. Come on.
Also, is it me?
Nah, it's me.
That's me. Oh, this is fun.
What we've been playing is a segment that I'm running, and it is where we talk about the games that we've been playing this week, and it's brought to us by the lovely Gus
I'm ready to listen. That was great.
Microtex.
Oh,
Now
it's different
that
ones.
is a serious elite sound.
Whoa.
For Microtex, we pick a tweet from Nick Belling at Nick Belling, and I'll read it out to you all. This was yesterday. Oh, fresh.
Fresh.
You No, I started that wrong.
Read to the punch. Read to the punch, because that was perfect timing.
You born in mid to late November? Yeah, it was today. Sorry. Implication, yesterday being Valentine's Day. Implication, that's when your parents,
Your
did,
parents
did the sexy time.
Was sexy on Valentine's Day.
Your daddy came in your mummy and made a you.
Or
I got in trouble for and I'm like, I'll try hard not to say the F word. I might say the S word, but didn't think we'd be getting any of that.
I'm just going to say I work in the ABC Kids department, so no comment.
most of my friends have
that one.
kids.
ABC Kids should be teaching about daddies coming in mummies.
Oh, no, Peter.
That's where the
Peter.
kiddies came from.
They should,
most
Peter.
Of my,
They should.
comment.
They should.
most of my friends who have kids have done that through IVF. So
Okay.
sometimes
The daddy doesn't come in the mummy.
no.
That's a real handbrake on that
Sometimes-
one.
He comes in a little
A
bottle.
leg is
Peter.
a egg is fertilized,
No more?
Jesus, dolphin pants.
and then the
Can we get a...
the egg is implanted in the womb.
Will's gone, man. He
I
walked
scared
out as
Will
soon
off.
as you said that. Yeah.
Sorry.
I agree.
C in ABC stands
Can
for
I? And no,
gummies.
oh God.
Thank you, Dolphin Pants, for that. Great bit of trivia. I didn't know. I worked there for years and I had
Didn't know
no
that.
idea.
Yeah, no, it's the first I've heard.
I had no idea. What we've been playing. Steph, would you like to kick us off today?
Back to me, you guys. And then when the egg is implanted in the
No,
womb,
what you been? What have you been turkey basting?
don't tell me.
Wait, are you asking what you've been
Don't
playing?
tell me.
But you know
I
she's-
do know it. It's just I've forgotten it in this moment.
Yeah,
And I
yes.
will find
Steph.
it.
No, she'll
I
get it, she'll get it.
Don't tell you. Don't. Skull and Bones. Damn it. See, you told me. You made a pirate face, and then see now my brain is just going to get worse.
Okay.
I don't want to make a bit, but I've never had you forget your game on it. But have we? Maybe we have.
Yeah,
That's wild.
I've forgotten my game as well.
I forget my own name.
No.
Skull and Bones, yar. I jumped into the open beta this weekend,
Mm-hmm.
and I was excited to do so because I had no idea what this game was going to be. I feel like you had a bit of an experience with this, maybe.
I played the closed beta, and I've also played it since then on the UB streams. Yes,
Yeah,
but I
okay.
got a hands-on couple of late last year.
I only just recently discovered that it and I say recently, within the last 6 months, that it was it's a game where it's not like Sea of Thieves in the sense that most of the gameplay is you're a ship, you're not a person.
In this, as opposed to Sea of Thieves, where you run
Are a
around
person.
on foot a lot.
Correct.
yes.
Yeah.
I don't even know what you would call this, a third-person
Boat.
boat adventure,
Naval simulator.
but it's not quite. It's a interesting genre.
I'll shut up then.
And I think that basically what Ubisoft have done is they've taken the ship battling mechanics from Assassin's Creed Black Flag and Rogue, which was super popular and everyone loved. We're like, let's see if we can make a game out of this. That was many, many, many years ago. And since then, we've all been like, what's happening with that game that they were making? Sea of Thieves came out. Everyone loved it. Well, eventually. And we were all like, oh, is Skull and Bones just dead in the water, so to speak? No, it wasn't. So I feel like my initial impressions of this was I was going in expecting not to like it because I'm a person who gets very attached to my character, and being represented in the game, is important to me in terms of feeling like I'm immersed in the world, and being a ship doesn't feel like I would be attached to it enough. They have added a character that when you're in the hub zones and you're kind of landing in ports and stuff like that, you do have a character that you run around with, and similar to Sea of Thieves, a lot of the things that you are working towards in terms of upgrading and missions and stuff like that is cosmetic stuff, which is similar to Sea of Thieves. There's no leveling up in terms of your character's abilities or things like that.
You don't get better gun stats, better... Well, you upgrade your ship.
Not in Sea of Thieves, you don't. It's all cosmetic.
Yep.
In this, there's a lot of cosmetics and stuff, but you do upgrade your ship and you do add a lot of different things to it. And so there's multiple incentives and stuff. I was very fashion focused in the beginning, so I spent a lot of money very early on outfits for my pirate that you only ever see for a few seconds when they land in port.
Did you? I enjoyed the tutorial missions. Are go see the shipbuilder, now see the blacksmith. Shipwright, then the lumber guy, and then the blacksmith. And the blacksmith's last quest is make cannonballs, make cannons. No, go try on some clothes.
Yeah.
And you're like,
By the time I got to the go try on some clothes mission, I had several outfits
yes,
already.
a lot of people do.
I
Because
was
you
like-
get there and the first thing is like the vanity shop, and you're like, well, yeah, I'm going there.
Yeah, they're like, go and try and buy a new shirt. And I was like, bitch, I got several outfits. You want a catwalk? Let's go. I was, expecting to not enjoy it, but I don't know. It was one of those experiences. Sometimes I play a game for all day to kind of give it a good go. And then I'm like, that was fun. I'm probably not going to come back to it. And then the next morning I wake up and I'm like, I'm going back in. You know what I mean? It kind of like, you sit with it overnight and then it kind of gets its hooks in and then I couldn't stop thinking about it. I think your ship feels personal enough that it circumvents the thing that I was worried about in not feeling like ownership of my character.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
It's like, would you say, maybe it's a bad comparison, but potentially the third person running around stuff as an avatar, which I think they were playing with from the start. They just never really landed, or they didn't sell what they were making of this game. And it went through obviously some difficult times of being a single player game with PvP and then open world or whatever it's sort of landed at. And a lot of the people have pointed out that yes, it is sort of adapting the Black Flag naval combat, which has been years since we've actually experienced and is still just as fun. But that first-person stuff for me feels a bit like Destiny. Like, it's the time you're in the hub doing things as a third-person character, and the ship stuff is your first-person shooting. It's like, if you like, I can separate the two, essentially.
Yeah.
And I can go, the time I'm on the ship doing missions, sailing as a boat, often switching to first-person, which you do then get to actually still be at the helm, driving your ship, feeling like the captain that you are before you then step on land. Like, I'm happy to do that. I prefer that than being an avatar running around. I wish there was none of that, personally. I don't think it's necessary. I'd rather just go to port and use, like, hub menus, things like that. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying I don't think it's as well polished as what they've made as the actual ship combat.
You lose a bit of the pirate fantasy by not being able to do some swashbuckling and jump on a ship and...
The swashbuckling is the huge thing that everyone has been up in their, up in arms about, which is the fact that, there is no sword play or firing a pistol, but there's cannon fire and there's the ability to board ships by actually having to sort of almost hook shot them when you get near, if you've done that.
But that's just an animation that plays out.
Totally.
It's to board a ship, you just have to get close enough to do like a quick time thing, and then that is successfully boarding the ship. You see an animation plays out, and then the ship is gone.
For me personally, it's the fact that they never promised, or I don't think it's the game developers are allowed to say that we never intended this to have swordplay in it. I don't think they ever showed it off.
Sure.
I know in people's minds that's part of the fantasy, but I think I get enough just out of the ship battling, and I think they never promised it. So for a lot of people to get upset about that has been pissing me off a little bit.
I mean, for me, it's not about being upset.
Not
It's just,
you.
it's like,
Speaking of the
yeah,
masses
for
that
sure.
are like getting angry.
Expectations of what a pirate fantasy could and should be versus and how maybe they marketed it and presented it, which again I don't think they ever explicitly were like, you are going to run around and have sword fights in this pirate game. It always felt like it was a ship-focused game.
Yeah.
But there's definitely expectations.
And it's the expectation that's been removed from a previous game that they've enjoyed that it is so similar to, that you did get to do, and it was fun. But there was also a whole third-person action game in that, in Assassin's Creed Black Flag, that they've not promised here, and therefore you shouldn't expect.
I think it's because obviously the biggest comparison is with Sea of Thieves, and there's a lot of ways in which I think it's different in a really good way, so that it's its own thing. And I think it's actually starting in a better place than Sea of Thieves did, which was very kind of bare bones and didn't give you a lot to do. And I guess the joy of Sea of Thieves is it's you with a crew of your friends on one boat sailing it together. Whereas the joy of this is it's you with a crew of your friends all on your own boats in a little armada, kind of like ganging up on other boats and kind of doing stuff, and sometimes going your separate ways and then reconvening at another port. We can all get off the boat and hang out and stuff like that. I think what Sea of Thieves did was, once they kind of managed to hook enough people early, even with that sort of limited content, they started adding these kind of story missions and stuff that kind of fleshed out the game a bit further. And I guess I'm kind of hoping that they will take some on land.
Take some cues from
yeah,
Sea of Thieves and
add
maybe
a
do
bit
the
of that.
opposite and go,
Because-
now we're adding the tavern where you can all go in there and get drunk, which you
Totally.
can't do now, but maybe
Have
that'll be a
fist
push.
fights.
Or
Yeah.
even not necessarily, there doesn't need to be like PvP combat, but
Play dice.
But or like some dumb jumping puzzle or something that you go do that doesn't have to be perfect, but it gives you an adventure to have on land. Because what I find with this is that I love the ship battle stuff. It's as fun as it was in Assassin's Creed, and it's Moorish and it's fun exploring, and all these locations are so beautiful. But a lot of the time you're just sailing past them, being like, I want to see that city, or I want to get off in that spot, and you can't.
I was surprised that I went and checked out like one of the first encampments that you can get off at, because there are some are just areas that you can trade with from the ship or attack. But you can go up to like Lanita, I think, a little outpost further up north, and you get off, and the game is, it's a sizable little space with vendors, with hidden chests, with little like, not jumping puzzles by no means, but areas to find bonuses and stuff. So it does encourage a little bit of that. I think it's not great. It's not like, it does feel like MMO sort of exploration. It doesn't feel like a grapple system from Assassin's Creed or anything. So I'm intrigued to see if there's a lot more of that later on, because I think there are little bits of that. I ran around an old sort of Incan ruin area and was like, this is interesting. But again, I think people have expectations of this being a free roaming third person action game when it's very much trying to get you back on the ship out doing these missions.
What's the sailing like? Because the thing I loved about Sea of Thieves was it's great.
Yeah. It's simple. Like
it's not because with Sea of Thieves you were manually doing all of those things as a character, and so that meant that like that was kind of the function of it, especially when you're on a bigger boat, is cooperating with your team to be like, someone is steering, I'm changing the angle of the sails, Peter is
communicating
and you're communicating that, whereas it's all you this time. So it depending on the size of your ship, you have just like one button to kind of put your sail up and down at various sort of stages. And then the rest of it is your kind of aiming your guns and sort of positioning your ship for battle, similar to Assassin's Creed.
And there's wind direction and all that.
There is wind. You don't have to use it. It just kind of hinders you when it's not doing well. You do not have to. You can sail straight into the wind, just not very fast.
Because the ship combat is so much
way
more
less detailed. Sure. As a sailing sim.
Yeah.
It's a way lighter.
But I'd argue the combat, just on the cannons, it is it's a great little thing where you pull your aim reticle, and as you move that around the ship, it'll adjust for which cannons on which side of the ship, or front, back, and side, and they reload at separate times. So you might fire your side cannons or your starboard cannons, and then you want to quickly swing around and use your front cannons while they are still reloading, and then kind of readjust. So you're using like 3 reloads, and potentially if you've got rear cannons and stuff like that, you can't just fire and wait and fire and wait. It's like I think Black Flag had a bit of it. They had chain shots that you could take sails, and I'm sure I'd be surprised if there wasn't more of that stuff in here as well.
And similar to any kind of like vehicle in a game that has customization or a gun or whatever, like there are all these different things you can craft to improve the stats of your ship in different areas, but you're limited in how many things you can have equipped. So you can put in a thing that trims your sails faster. You can put in a thing that like increases your aim speed or damage, or and the ships there's different classes of ship as well. So you can have like a healing ship that shoots like healing bombs at your teammates and stuff like that, and passively heals your own ship faster. So there's quite a
Spanish invention.
Oh, right.
Yeah. It's
So,
a bit. It's
We're
just
sending
a big,
Van.
Yeah, it's just you just shoot antibiotics at people, and it's gonna
Sorry, you go.
I saw a comparison that said it was a lot like The Division. So it's kind of mostly PvE, and there's some like PvP
There is
zones.
PvP apparently, but you need to like Division.
It's
you need
opt-in.
You need to turn it on and potentially go to certain areas where it is active. Which, and again, I haven't experienced that yet, but that's what I've heard when I did the Ubi stream. But yeah, it's
You're controlling secretaires from the boat.
Well, this is how you harvest and manage anything in resource gathering. It like makes you do a little mini game, which looks silly, feels silly, but is kind of every time just a little bit like, got it right. It's like it does feel good.
And it encourages exploration, because you're like, I can go from A to B, but like you kind of want to go into all the inlets and stuff, because you can hunt crocodiles and stuff who are just like popping up in the water, and you shoot your cannons at them. And
it is interesting.
You can,
You shoot your cannons at a crocodile?
yeah.
You're not going to have any
You ruin
leather
that leather that you're after, but that croc's
funny.
Yeah.
It is interesting. The comparisons to Sea of Thieves are totally justified. And it's interesting how much kind of like you do, the Ubi model does strip a little bit of the joy by making all of these menus, upgrades, things that you can attach to certain elements of your ship that are quite cold and clinical when you're looking at it, versus how hands-on Sea of Thieves was. And even just pointing out the sailing style, it feels good because it's simple. Whereas you lose the joy of either getting it really right in Sea of Thieves as a team, or the chaos and hilarity that comes from it all going wrong. So some of that personality and stuff is gone but I'd say in place of a game that's probably a little more tactical and more about managing a lot more menus and elements
Yeah.
and stats, which I think, it is a nice part of it.
I guess the question is whether it has what Sea of Thieves had in the sense that it enough of a player base to allow them to build on it if that's what they want to do. Because Rare,
I feel like
Rare
it feels like it
had
could be a
this-
single player game, though.
Well, that's what that's what I've seen of the game, is that it feels like way more of a standard progression than Sea of Thieves, which Sea of Thieves, again, is like nearly entirely cosmetic in how you upgrade. And it's so much about those immersive experiences of...
It's an emergent gameplay sandbox, right?
Yeah.
Whereas this is a progression.
Yeah, this is, I'm going to finish
Tactical.
the campaign, and by the time I finish my campaign, my ship is going to be maxed out at level 20 or whatever, and I'm going to be a pirate master, and...
Or I'm going to need more people to do the sections that I cannot do alone, the raids, the giant...
Well, you progress so much faster when you're in a group as well, because all
okay.
your quest progress counts to everyone, and the money that you earn is like, if someone else turns in a quest, you get that money too. So it really incentivizes playing together.
I do find it interesting how much it let you kind of just both sail away. Like, it doesn't do the Sea of Thieves. Well, the idea of you should all stay together,
Yeah.
it was basically like you could party up and then just disappear and be doing things exclusively at different areas. And
but it's that thing
outposts.
of like, oh, we could take on a really big ship if there's 3 of us and do a really tough mission. Or if you separate, there's been times when we have gone kind of like with the intention of doing something, and then we all get separated, and then somebody's like, oh, I'm in trouble, and then you're all trying to hot sail it back to where they are so that you can all kind of gang up together.
What are the missions? Literally just ship combat?
It'll be like, go and interrupt this trade route and take out these ships, or it'll specify that you need to board another ship. Sometimes it'll be like recover these things, or it'll be like navigational stuff, like find this area. Sometimes it'll be like you have to take out ships in a certain way. So it'll be like you have to use fire damage or something like that. So you can get cannons on your ship that have flamethrowers effectively.
Early on, it does seem like the majority are combat with the focus of collecting a particular resource that you either get from those ships. So the French ships are all carrying a lot of rum.
Yeah.
And again, I'm sure they expand on that, but it does feel like from that, it would expand to just you need a lot of this resource or to take out these types in a certain way.
My first ship was a rammer, and I called it Big Rammy Boy.
Nice.
Nice.
What did I get? I got
McRam
not a
face.
sloop. I got the other one starting with S. Can't remember. It wasn't a rammer.
But did you call it Big Rammy Boy?
No.
Then who cares?
I was going to say something rude, but I'm not going to.
Don't.
It's weird. I'm going to keep playing it
Same.
on the Ubi streams, but I'm trying to find time to be playing it in my downtime at the moment, just to like build up some rep and stuff. Because I was going to say, just on the sailing, I loved the sound design, the first person view, or the views you can fit in there of like you can do it from the crow's nest or down from the sail. And it's just like the creaking ship and the
thing
waves
I loved
and
most
everything.
about the trailers was just when they busted out the shanties. I was like,
My
I might play it just for the shanties.
My criticism is that I wish
That's
that
enough of a hook.
I wish that when you're in a group and you're within a certain proximity, you sing the same shanty.
yeah.
That'd be
Because
good.
they don't have
That's
that.
what Sea of Thieves did, right?
that-
You can play
Yeah,
your instruments,
when
you all
you
sync
sync
and I
up.
was
Yeah.
like, that
Yeah.
would have been sick. But like, sometimes you can hear each other's shanties and each other's
that's cool.
ships and stuff. But like, sometimes we'll all be singing different songs, and I'll be like,
Shut up over there.
"Well, I'm just
Yeah.
gonna sail a little
And you
further
just need
away."
one
Yeah.
person to do then
Happy. That's my favorite sea.
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting. It's cool. I've never played anything quite like it, even though it's a
Black
mechanic.
Flag?
Well, yeah, but like in terms of
That
the way
had a
this
game
game
built
is,
around it.
Yeah, and the way
Yeah.
this is set up, to the point where I don't know what you call this genre of game really, but it surprised me in how Moorish it was. Maybe just as a credit to the original Black Flag mechanics.
Yeah.
So I'm going to keep playing it.
I just wish they just make a Black Flag 2.
Yeah, me too.
That's what I feel. I feel like I look at this and I'm like, that studio could have made Black Flag 2 probably in half the time.
I mean, did you play Rogue? Did you enjoy Rogue?
I didn't. It's
Right.
on my pile of shame. It's
There
been
you
sitting
go.
there. I've
Yeah.
been wanting to.
It's good, but it's like it's DLC. It's way
Yeah,
shorter.
yeah.
But it's actually a good length for an Assassin's Creed.
I just
game.
wanted.
Like,
I wanted the tropics. I
hours.
didn't want snow and ice.
Oh,
I want the pirate.
Yeah.
Agreed.
You know.
Fair
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yep.
Fair.
Well, now you have it,
Yeah. We'll see.
but no sword swinging.
No, we'll see. I might try it out.
Me?
Yeah.
I've been playing Helldivers. So have you?
Oh, bye.
I have.
Helldivers 2, in fact. We jumped in for because PlayStation Australia sponsored us to play it on stream, which was good fun. But it is the talk of the town at the moment, Helldivers 2. It is...
When did the first Helldivers come out?
I don't know exactly when it came out, but it was a very different game as
I
well.
was about to say, I know
It's
nothing
like a
about it.
PS3 game almost.
I think so.
It's
It
an
was a
RTS.
top-down,
Well,
more
I
of
think it was like a
more of
twin stick shooter.
twin stick strategy. Yeah, it was I mean, it was still very much a
okay.
shooter. So Helldivers 2 is a third-person shooter. It's squad-based, cooperative, and it is set in a parody science fiction future where you are a citizen of the Super Earth and you have...
Skip forward a bit, Josh.
No, this is great. This tutorial is awesome. You're a citizen of Super Earth, and you are being tasked with... Basically, everyone gets conscripted, and you head out to take over some of the galaxy in the name of Super Earth.
Yeah.
Fighting bugs, very much like Starship Troopers.
It has so much Starship Troopers energy. It
It
wears
does,
its
yeah.
Starship Troopers fandom on its sleeve, I think.
I
And
think
it
it
also-
wears three things really clearly. It's Halo,
Yep.
Terminator, and Starship Troopers.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, which are three fantastic science fiction like banners to build yourself under, and it does a great job of being all three of those things and a really fun time. Mechanically, it is a third-person shooter, and you have a limited selection of guns.
Can you skip forward a bit, Josh?
Do.
Sure,
Like there's actually this is still the tutorial.
Yeah.
You have a limited selection of guns. You go into missions. You approach a galaxy map, and you can see progression that the entire online community is working towards. Everyone, the conceit being that everyone is a citizen of Super Earth and is working towards the same goal of capturing these planets. Some against bugs, some against Terminator-style robots.
Cool.
And you can see how much of a planet that your instance of that server has fed you of. Maybe you've only taken a percentage of a planet.
Liberated.
50% liberated, yeah. And so that's what you're working towards, and then unlocking other sectors of the galaxy to go deeper into the game. Theoretically, to unlock harder missions, though, you can set harder difficulties as you skill up and as you complete difficulties as well. So you go in, you've got two guns, you've got a primary and a secondary weapon, and you can get a third weapon. The gunplay is pretty good. It's not like... I don't think it's something that people are writing home about necessarily, but it works well enough, is fun. There's enough variety, I think, once you start to unlock different guns and you can find better approaches.
What does it sound like?
So the assault rifle sounds like... The pistol goes... And then the arc gun goes...
Ooh.
That's
like that.
pretty good. That's pretty good.
That was all just made up. I can't remember exactly what they sound
Close
like.
enough.
But the combat itself is, while reasonably basic and foundationally good, is built upon and made really exciting by ordnance and the squad factor. So the squad can bring in a different arsenal so that you're using different weapons and that are more effective in different ways, and the ordnance, which is a really cool little like Konami code mini game built into this, which is a system where you have superpowers that you can call as you're playing through a map, and you're basically calling for support from orbit. And it might be an airstrike, an orbital strike. It might be resupply, or it might be to recover squad mates who are downed and killed. But to do that, you hold the left bumper, and then you have to, as quickly as possible, because you're in the heat of battle,
Yeah.
hit a string of D-pad up, down, left, right combination sequence,
down,
and perform these tasks. And it's just such a fun little.
And if you fuck it up, there's like a little cooldown before you can try again.
Yeah.
I know as someone who fucked it up many times.
It's a super quick cooldown, though. It's not super punishing.
No,
Totally,
no,
it's
no,
not
no.
punishing, but it's like it feels like this
you're-
complex thing to do in the heat of battle that makes it
When you're
exhilarating
getting
in a way
swarmed
that
by
it wouldn't be
bugs and
otherwise.
you're just like trying to
Of going,
res someone.
Bring up a list of things that I want to do and just do it. You have
It's
to.
the video game equivalent of the guy in the movie bringing out the pad going beep, 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 beep,
Yeah.
beep,
Yeah,
like punching
yeah,
It's
yeah.
just enough
Hacking the
busy
terminal.
work to like give you something to stress about while bugs are trying to tear your head off.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there is like, and we only played the easier difficulties in our stream as well. And I don't know how what difficulty are you up to?
I've tried a hard mission just with like one co-op buddy.
Yeah.
And it kicked our butts.
Yeah, okay.
So I have to like, I think you need a full squad for hard and above.
Yeah, because it goes up to like insanity plus.
Impossible, yeah.
Yeah, so like there's I think like 15 difficulty options.
Yeah.
So it's quite tunable, but the sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to quickly ask, maybe you covered this, but the idea that your squad can be up to
4. Yep.
And how many other squads can be on a map at any one time?
None.
It's just your
just
squad.
your
So
squad.
I had the idea of it being Starship Troopers, like how many
That's
others
more
are
of an
running around.
that's more of an overarching meta game
yes,
that's
okay,
happening.
And there was an instance where we wanted to do a mission, but like another squad were doing it, and so we couldn't.
That's true. So there are
We couldn't
missions that you can
access
just drop into the planet and do at the difficulty that you're set at, or there are kind of challenges that pop up on a world at the same time, and they often have a better reward.
Yeah, right.
So you can see when they pop up, they're there for a limited time, and someone might jump in and grab
Yeah,
it
right.
before you. The way that so a basic mission is drop onto a planet, kill a big bad, and evacuate. They're all structured in the same way that you land. You can choose where you land on the map. You go and do a mission, and then you need to evacuate. There might be multiple missions to complete, but you always have to get back to the ship and get evacuated.
And there's
which is
optional objectives too within the missions that
Yeah.
like give you extra stuff.
And
to
there's a
get
time
extra
limit.
stars, extra challenges, and there's always a time limit. But it's like a half-hour kind of drop typically.
Usually, I think most are 40 minutes, and then
Yeah.
you get some which are like 10 or 12
little
minutes. or like
tighter.
a really quick
Time
little...
limit is evacs not coming anymore kind of thing?
It's a fail, yeah.
So
okay,
basically, what happens when the time runs out, you can't use your superpowers anymore, and the dropship gets called automatically. So like the time runs out, you got 2 minutes to
then you
get
get
to
2
the
minutes.
dropship,
Yeah.
Love it.
and then if you don't get there, I guess
So-
you die, you fail.
Yeah,
RIP,
if you're still trying to complete the mission, you can't get back in 2 minutes effectively.
Yeah.
And anyone on the team can call the evac at any time if they go to it. So they could also screw you over if they call it
Love
and you're
that.
not even.
Cowards.
Yeah.
So there's definitely like this game. I think would be a reasonably shallow experience solo. It is pitched as a squad shooter.
Almost
Yeah.
impossible, to be honest. Because
Yeah.
there are certain objectives or things you interact with where it's like you need to be telling someone point the radar dish that way, and it's
Yeah,
while
yeah.
you can run and like go there and run
Oh,
back.
that's cool.
There
So
was
they're
there were
actually-
some bunkers and stuff that
There's
we
bunkers
needed
you need
two
two
people to
people,
open.
Two
and
door,
stuff,
yeah. There's a 2-button door and stuff.
I mean,
But
that's
you-
just optional stuff, though.
Yeah,
Like,
but you can play online as well with
Yeah.
randos and stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, like the progression system. So you'll jump in, you'll play these missions, you'll evac, you'll get character experience, and if you complete certain challenges, you'll get tokens. I believe the only progression system is built into like a purchase, basically the
like a battle pass.
battle
almost.
pass, but like
Yeah.
a free battle pass
Well,
that's built into it.
It's so you can upgrade. You can buy new like capes and guns through that.
Yes.
And there's also you can upgrade your stratagems. You can buy new stratagems, and you can
The
upgrade
stratagems
your
and the
ship.
ship upgrades, I think, are not the challenge currency. They're just experience currency.
There's a few different currencies.
Yeah,
in there.
there's-
So you get the medals
it gets
which you
confusing.
spend on the guns.
Yeah.
The stratagems you use requisition points, I think, to
Yeah.
buy.
So that's and the stratagems ultimately
samples.
are a better, I think, a better demonstration of progress.
Those are the stratagems are the things that you
The
They're
die
the,
with.
they're the
yeah.
superpowers that you're
Yep.
calling in because they give you more, I guess, technical ability in scenarios. Whereas
And you get
the other
to use
guns
them
are-
like fairly frequently.
yeah.
So it's like
You-
it's like they're really powerful.
Yeah,
And
some
when
of
you
the
have
long
a good,
cooldowns are 2-3 minutes.
Yeah.
Some have longer than I think. There's like some of the like special weapons. If you call down a machine gun or a supply pack
can
or something,
be
they're like
5,
7 minutes
7, yeah,
sometimes.
okay.
They're a bit longer, but
Yep.
they're the kind of things you can. They stay on the map. So if you die and you respawn, you can go pick up your machine gun.
Yeah.
When
you
I s-
kind of don't need to.
When I saw this, I thought that this was going to be like one of those kind of AA, kind of very bland third-person shooters. Like what was that Outriders game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it just did not seem like something that was going to appeal to me. And when we jumped into it, it was like instantly fun and instantly like beautiful in a way that I wasn't expecting. The worlds are all procedurally generated and so diverse. Like the planet surfaces are really different and really fun to navigate. And when you're a group, it's really I think I really enjoyed it once we started doing different mission objectives that saw us kind of going through as a squad, but then also kind of splitting up and trying to achieve multiple things at once, and sometimes successfully, sometimes not successfully. And in the midst of all that, the chaos of pulling in all of these drop ships of supplies and artillery and stuff like that to try and turn the tide of battle when things got really crazy. I was surprised. This is not what I thought it was, and it's very addictive.
It's a wonder as well, just watching this footage, but also you mentioned as well, you're buying the stratagems and you're buying weapons and all that. You mentioned capes as a purchase of all thing. And
I have
what adding...
I have a cape here that was
You've
sent
got
to
a cape
us.
here, but what adding a cape to what could be, you're right, an Outriders style, very generic, very kind of look at and judge straight away and go, yeah, I've seen this game a million times before. I know there's more in terms of the humor.
I'm ready for I get a 2 on the sides and then just scissors
That's
on
what
top,
that is.
please.
Oh, yeah.
scissors on
I know
top.
you said the writing in the presentation has a lot of that fun in it, but even
it's
just the
it's
cape as well actually just sells it as like, we're saving this planet, but we're doing it with a little flamboyance, a little bit of unnecessary it's great.
Totally. I think
It's that very tongue-in-cheek bravado
Because
humor.
without it, it would just be a next on the line of...
It doesn't take itself seriously.
Yeah.
if this game was playing cool, it would be way less interesting
Yes.
and fun.
Yeah.
Totally.
And that doesn't just come to like the way that the Helldivers interact with each other and you can interact as like co-op players. The enemy design, while I hope it stays as varied as you get deeper into the game, but from the session that we played, when you're fighting the bugs, there's a bunch of different bugs that you want to approach fighting them in different ways. They're ridiculous and they're disgusting and they're big and bloated and bulbous and they blow up on you and it's gross. And then the Terminator like robot guys are like, some of them have saw arms and they just charge at you, and some of them are big ATS teeth
From the levels I've played, every time you sort of go up a difficulty level, all of a sudden there's like 2 or 3 new units. Like we tried to do a robot hard mission, and I was like, I saw a tank. I'm like, well, there's no tanks in it.
It's
That's
weird.
just decorated. And I was like,
That's
no, that's a real
dressing.
tank.
That's a tank.
It's a tank.
With the bugs, there's like little flying fish ones. There's one that jump really high and fast. You'll be like, oh, we've got...
Yes.
They're ages away. And then all of a sudden you see one go... You're like, no!
Do they try and explain all the like enemy types and why they're all there, or is it a bit of a
The
Earth
world
Defense
building is
Force?
literally like intro cutscene. There's bugs. We have to kill them
Well, I
for
was gonna
democracy.
say,
Yeah.
that's the
Would
best
you
way
like to
do
know
it.
more?
And like that's it.
Because that's the fun of it. Going, we're just expanding as humans, and we're just destroying and fighting because that's what we do. And it's like, cool. That also means you don't have to go. The bugs made the machines, and the machines made the bugs. It's like
Like all the world building's in the design as well. It's like
Yeah.
it's just in the bugs and in the Helldivers and in the ships and in the sci-fi of it. It's not. It never. There's no like lore bits you're picking
You
up.
don't pick up. Oh, maybe you do pick up diaries.
Oh, there's
You
little,
do, yeah.
there's
Yeah.
little bits of like,
But
oh,
they're
I
all-
ran out
yeah.
of food. I
Yeah,
left some,
yeah.
day 5, the bugs jump really far. Watch out.
and lots of, we're trying to get back to the...
Yeah. If he was dying, you wouldn't bother writing. Oh, would he?
Yeah. I have a question. Did you guys, apart from your initial drop onto the planet, did you do much diving? Because in the
That is the
tutorial,
diving. There's
in
the
the
That's the dive.
but in the tutorial there is like a jump dive
Dive in-
mechanic.
dive in
Yeah,
where
but
you
that's
go
not the hell
prone.
diving. The
No,
hell
yeah.
diving is
No,
the
but it
dropping.
seems like it's part of it. And several times when I was in the midst of combat, it'd be like, press X to dive. Like it's something that I should have been
Hell
doing more
divers.
of.
I
So
mean,
I'd press X and then I would get swarmed by bugs. And I was like, well, that was dumb.
I think
I'm not going to do
it's
that
actually
again.
better used as a tactic for the robots, because you can kind of like, if you see a little robot camp and you have the machine gun especially, it reduces your recoil, so you can like run up, do a little dive, plant yourself, especially if you've got some other squad members running in, then you can sort of have
okay.
a bit
And
more
when you
control.
land, you do go thump. Hell
Yeah.
dive.
Yeah. I definitely, as someone who's like not a great shooter, I struggled with the recoil on this. But
Yeah.
then I've discovered the shotgun, which is a very long range shotgun. And suddenly I was a gamer.
You like 87% accuracy. at the end
Yeah,
of
I
the
was like,
round.
guys, come
What?
on. Like this massive bullet spray going, pff, but like over really long distances. It was great.
The only thing I saw was talking about the expansion map was that apparently the Earth in the middle does have a percentage, and so in theory that could
It
maybe
could,
be
but it's at
attacked.
100. But like maybe that's end gamey kind of stuff.
Yeah,
that
okay,
it becomes 60.
And we haven't talked about the weird like dev Overwatch thing where they change stuff apparently.
I see. I mean, yeah, I'm not entirely sure what that is, but there is and I think it's like a streamer tool because they're aware of what this game is. It's like I'll play online with your friends. There's going to be a lot of streamers playing it.
Sure.
Is that there is a tool built into it that the devs can manipulate people's gameplay sessions
Oh yeah.
by making it more difficult or taking control of an AI character or that kind of thing
Right.
that makes it like
There's always a chance that they're gonna like step
Something
in
like
and
that
do
could
something a
happen.
little
But
different.
I'm curious to know if you get notified that is happening, or if it's just like this random unseen thing.
Maybe the unseen kind of vibe is cool because you're like, that acted differently, or that bug
yeah.
jumped.
Then how would
yeah.
you know for sure? I would want to know.
You just never know.
You never
I
know.
would want to know for
They'd
sure.
probably be invulnerable and just walk up to you and be like, I made this. Do you like it?
Start talking to you like, what the hell?
I noticed you were hell diving.
I made this. I made this.
Apparently, as well, I saw that like when you're in orbit, before you dive, you're on your ship and you can like do your loadouts and stuff. There's a bunch of other ships, and apparently they're all real time people dropping in and calling in stratagems.
Are
Apparently,
they real time?
That's
I read an
cool.
article that said
That's
that. I don't
sick.
know how accurate it was. Someone was like, did some test or something.
I mean,
but-
it speaks to all of the dressing of this game is so perfect. Again, it's all of the world building is done just in how you experience the game as opposed to it forcing anything upon you.
Yeah.
It's awesome. I'm definitely going to be playing heaps more of this. I play a bit of what's a dwarf mining game? Deep Rock
Deep Rock,
Galactic.
yep.
I've played a fair bit of that with friends, and this game feels like it can replace that in being like
I feel like such
Something
a
to
different
grind.
game to
No,
me.
but you're saying as the
It's ju-
squad based.
yeah, doing runs like
Lots of bugs.
Sure, yep,
similar
yep.
kind of progression of like getting new gear, taking it in,
Yeah, okay, yeah, yeah.
cosmetic-y stuff. It feels like that, and it's just a really fun way to spend.
I think
the night.
one of my favorite things about it is just the chaos as well.
Yeah.
Like the amount of times you blow yourself up, you
I-
blow your teammates up.
It's been doing-
like you're trying to do,
Yeah.
you're trying to help, and you're just
you
like,
could-
oh,
but-
Well, no,
yeah, my
it's-
mortar shell just blew me up. Like,
yeah, but it's it's effectively a stratagem to res people, so people get back in.
But
Really,
there are
really
there are
quickly,
limited
yeah.
lives though, so every time you do it, you're like, oh,
Oh,
I'm sorry.
It's
right,
been
yeah,
doing great
okay.
rounds on socials of people putting like, sort of like Vietnam War style music or just like that craziness of war. The one I saw was someone calling in a nuke off a cliff edge and they're like, I'm sending in the nuke. And the nuke obviously comes in on a trajectory that it lands at the edge of the cliff he's on. And there's just that,
Yeah.
oh, what the? It was
Well,
really-
it's just like you see a beam of light where something is going to land, but
Yeah.
amidst the chaos, it takes 30 seconds or something for it to, well, however long it takes for something
so
to
the
arrive.
things walked away or...
Yeah, or like people are just backing into it, and then a mortar strike happens, and then
Yeah.
you're
Yeah,
just
you're
like,
back as soon as you call it, because again, it's that frantic call it. You get a ball.
Yeah.
You throw the ball to where you want it to land,
Like a
and then you're back in a
Pokeball.
gunfight, and you're backing away from something. You're like, I threw the ball somewhere over here, didn't I?
yeah,
Oh, no.
yeah.
and like I think there's a little bit of like bitterness that sometimes creeps in when I'm playing, or like when I was playing with my partner, like
Yeah.
we would occasionally accidentally kill each other, and then you respawn and you just land on them.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and
Target
then,
them
all of a
as
sudden they're throwing stratagems at you, and you're like, stop it! Seriously, we're out of lives.
Yeah, yeah. I killed Jens a couple of times because I would throw a stratagem and then I would get distracted and then I'd turn around and I'd be like, Jens, no!
Amazing.
I think people will still be talking about this game at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Potentially in some game of the year conversation,
so, yeah.
just on the chaotic fun that it generates in a group. It's
Yeah.
not mechanically the best game of the year. It's not going to be the best story of the year, but it's a game
It's just-
in
it's-
a Rocket League
yeah.
sense that people are going to be playing all year.
To me, it's so interesting, like the dichotomy between it and like Suicide Squad. Something that came out and it was just like, oh, live service, battle pass. I don't want to do this grind. And this came out with like a live service battle pass. I'm like, oh, I love this.
I love that it is with a live
Like,
service.
Just the way it's just the way it's handled.
Can I offer you
know.
a cape?
And
Yeah,
it's a
yeah.
game built for that, whereas
Yeah.
Suicide Squad had that rammed in.
Yes,
Into-
like I want
into its
the
hip.
next Arkham game from
Yeah.
Rocksteady, whereas this I'm like I
Yeah,
have no
yeah.
pre-expectations for what
Yeah.
this developer's going to do.
Yeah.
And also like with the battle pass, you can actually get all the premium currency just by playing,
by playing.
and then
Yeah.
you
I
can
like
unlock
that.
all the premium stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like
Yeah, that shotgun that I
always
picked
feels
up
good.
was an unlock, and it was like such a big jump from all the other guns that I've been using, and I just unlocked it passively like fairly early on, so that was good.
To round up on it, has anyone had any interest in looking at Helldivers 1 and what that game is and potentially, because that's just what I thought.
little, I
It's such a
guess.
different,
Yeah.
it's such a pivot for the actual style of game. I'm like, I wonder what the interest in that game is now. And
I do love a good twin stick shooter, and people are saying like it's the same but obviously different.
Yeah.
So
You
yeah,
probably reviewed it on Good Game.
Probably did.
You
I think,
played 40 hours of that,
that's
Joe.
one I missed. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure that's
Yeah,
fair enough.
yeah,
I think I'd remember. I hope.
Cool. Gus.
Yes, I've just recently jumped into Persona 3 Reload, which came out on Game Pass and has been a remake of the Persona 3 game that came out on PlayStation 2.
Are you a Persona guy?
I dabbled in Persona 5 because I just kept seeing it. Well, everyone was saying it was this, the best game they'd ever played, and so I had to find out what all the fuss was about. So I jumped in on Persona 5, and I enjoyed it, but it is a real trip getting into these games and understanding what kind of game they are and the lore and just the sort of the setup for what is essentially like these anthology games. The Persona series, and please excuse me, I'm going to get a few things wrong here, I'm sure, because people who love these games are diehards and I'm still finding my footing. But Persona 3 is the one that a lot of people say is a great one to start on. So having a remake or an update like this one, I think is a good idea. For anyone who doesn't play the Persona games or the Shin Megami Tensei series that has spun off into the Persona games, JRPG games where essentially you play a character who teams up with a group of young students. They're always set around schools, and you have on one side of things, you have a JRPG life sim about going to a school, meeting friends, dealing with the sort of social connections you make with them, earning a bit of money on the side, all very simple humdrum stuff done with a sort of heightened Japanese, either in Tokyo or in this case you're on like a nice little coastal island. But you very quickly come to find out that there is a darker sort of power at work, and essentially the premise for them changes throughout the Persona games. So I don't think there's maybe there's some connection between 2 and 2.5, but the rest of them are all new characters, new setting, new reason for this kind of dark power happening. There are some links through all of them, like a weird character who tutorializes things, who pops up in them all, and the reference of what Persona is the same in all of them. But in this case, if you're still with me, basically you find out that in this world at midnight there is a extra hour called the Dark Hour, so a 13th hour, where everyone goes into a kind of fugue state in real life and sort of suddenly transforms into coffins. So the whole real world just disappears, and shadow creatures roam the world, and you and these other students that you team up with who are in a dorm all have the power to stay awake during that 1 hour and go off and battle them all.
But everyone else is just like...
It's kind of an excuse for why the whole world is oblivious to why this is happening.
Oblivious, yeah.
And also why they're not being affected by it. So you realize there's a shadow power that you need to go and fight with these other students who become your friends, and it turns into very much Buffy the Vampire Slayer kind of vibes. In this case, you're part of a team called like the Supernatural Extracurriculum Education something you called SCENE as your acronym, and you buddy up with all these characters and you head off into this tower, which is called the Tower of Tartarus, which in this case is what your school turns into in the Dark Hour, and you head into this level by level, very Atlas obviously designed game. Think what was the one with the
Zero Time Dilemma?
Think the two women that you have an affair with.
Catherine,
thank you. In terms of the weird the weird puzzle game you're playing every night, in this case is a tower that you're moving up through levels, avoiding combat or engaging with enemies that are weird and wacky and shadow creatures, and then it's a turn-based combat game that you and your party fight, rest, do your classic turn-based fighting, but you have the power of Persona, which is essentially God, I hate this bit. The personas are visual manifestations of your personality as strange, obscure, fucked up creature designs, pardon my F-bomb, that you collect by making social connections with other people. You can even take these personas and use them for different types of attacks, which is like your classic ice, flame, stun, whatever. You find out certain creatures are weak to them, and you need to strategize how you use your personas and potentially start breeding or at least combining those persona cards to make even weirder characters that you use in battle. It's kind of like Pokemon.
I was about to say, it sounds like a cross between His Dark Materials and Pokemon.
Very good way to put it. Much better way than I just did. But yeah. So, and that is something
You
that
said
carries...
breeding, and I didn't like it.
And that combat system carries throughout all the Persona games as they add on new elements to it. And yeah, that's what I've got to at this point. One thing you are seeing right here, which was a style choice they went with Persona 3, which is quite dark, and there's a trigger warning at the start of the game, and for anyone watching this, is that the way your characters... evoke the personas when you do that attack is by taking a pistol called an evoker, in this case, and shooting themselves in the head.
That's so emo. I love it.
It is so emo. It is so like just a weird style choice, and they do it with such sort of wild jazz and color and light, which the Persona games from 3 and onwards really lean into, and that is why I'm still in this game. God damn, they just drip with style. Like to the point that it takes me a little bit to push through an aesthetic that is not my go-to, but once I'm in it, I am fucking in it. I love it.
Is that Persona thing consistent throughout all the games, or is that just this one?
I played this in 5, and I believe 3, 4, and 5 have kind of done that. The Persona combat existed
every time?
No. The evoker thing is just in 3.
Okay.
So think of it as, again, like an anthology. That in 4, all the creatures are in TV, or they dive into a TV at night because TVs are hypnotizing people. In Persona 5, it's evil people that they go into their mind palaces and deal with creatures. So it's like a new designer or writer, I think, takes on the Persona lore and applies it to different characters and different worlds.
That's cool.
Again, that's my take on it. I apologize for any diehards out there who are like, you're missing the really most important part. But the most important part is I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
Great.
And again, it's clunky in the sense that all the Persona games are schedule games. It's like in the morning you can do this, in the night you do this.
Sure,
and do you want to go to the Tower of Tartarus every night or just go and sing karaoke by yourself? I'm like, oh yeah, I'll do that.
By yourself?
Yeah, that's what. Like, if you're lonely in the game, you can go and do that. It's weird.
It boosts your
Courage.
courage
To sing by yourself.
to sing karaoke. By
So
yourself.
there's an audience still.
No,
Nope.
you say as you go
What
into
are you getting? How is that courageous?
Because, Peter, the writers say, I go in and sing karaoke. Someone looked at me strangely when they saw me going in alone, but I feel better about myself for it. Courage up 1.
Yeah.
Well, someone witnessed them.
They
They wrote themselves out of that. Yeah.
Brilliant.
I'm really enjoying it. I enjoy how much more pared back this is to 5. 5 felt so feature rich that I was a bit overwhelmed, and I did put it down, and I probably won't go back to it unless I go for a full restart.
And this is a remake of Persona 3 was what, 2013 or something?
2000 and I wrote it down. It's PlayStation 2, so yeah, that
okay.
era, and PSP as well was a version. But all the Persona games have had like a spin-off version, like a 1.
There's a golden version, a half
2006.
2006.
Oh wow, yeah, okay.
There's the portable version and the Fez version. I don't know what the difference is, but people who do will know. So yeah, I like how the nighttime element of this, the tower, is actually really pared back, and it's quite simple it's just a rearranging maze every night that you go through and choose how far you go before you choose to tap out because you're not strong enough. That's my understanding of it. It might get more complex, but I like that it's simple.
Is it very like story character driven? Are you really attached to these characters? Because I'm watching this, I'm seeing a lot of dialogue to click through and read, which it's fine if you're into the characters, but it can be a turn off if it's just like
shut up
just
and get
fact
out.
to like go through.
It actually, no one character goes for too long in dialogue. It tends to be like you have quick conversations with a lot of people, so that's kept me interested. I definitely speed read and tap through so I don't listen to, but I read it all and take it all in. And at this point,
It's all voiced?
no, hit and miss. Some cutscenes, sometimes they do that first word thing where they say like,
Okay.
Hey,
yeah. But I would say yes. I think
That's my favorite.
my understanding is that
it's and then it's like the
paragraph.
deepest soliloquy you've ever read.
I think the idea with all the Persona games is you have an affinity for at least half the characters by the end of it. The way the opening cutscenes are like a music video showing you them all before
Yeah.
you've ever met them, and they're like, you're gonna love these characters.
Just you wait.
I don't think I'm like in love with anyone in particular in it, but I can definitely see an appeal in like two. Like,
Speaking of, is there romance?
I actually never gotten
Their
far enough in
danger?
5. A lot of them talk around it, like, oh God, you walked to school with that girl. You must love her and she must love you. It's like, don't talk to me about that yet. I'm like, what is going on?
I'm
Like,
sure there's romance.
someone
would
might
be,
know,
for
but
sure.
that kid in your class sucks, the ants. I think they're
Who are you
okay.
romancing?
Oh no, you are talking about. There is a kid in
can.
your school who just keeps asking you about the girl you walked to school with once, and they're a massive creep. And you go out to like have noodles with them, and he's like, "So let's get back to business. This girl that you walked to school with once, is she into other guys?" And you're like, "You're a creep." So there's some classic kind of
Here he is. He's in right now.
That's him.
Is that
He's a-
him?
He's a dick.
Friendly student.
He's
Yeah.
gonna be evil.
Bloody friendly
He's gonna be
student.
bad.
Yeah, he's not friendly.
Messiah for Hire says no Persona games have romance, but I think it's that thing of they become
sir.
such a tight knit group of best friends that
That sounds
just
like a sarcasm.
That's sarcasm. No. No Persona games have romance. No, sir.
Oh, okay.
Sarcasm.
They're all romance.
Is that sarcasm?
I think so.
Oh,
So
hard to
Lord
read.
Yeah.
Lord Phoenix says there is.
Hard
but,
to read. Sarcasm.
That
the
said,
vibe I
from
get
all-
is that it's a very horny game somehow.
Yeah.
Anything with this
Oh,
much
look,
style
I
is
don't doubt
intrinsically
and
horny.
it's high school. Everyone
school.
wants.
Yeah.
I don't doubt it's
Hormones
horny.
are flying around.
I don't doubt it's horny, but I always thought it was the idea of them just becoming really good friends that are combating each night in crazy like situations, because that's what all the marketing for all the Persona games are.
Sure.
So yeah,
Combating is what the kids are calling
That's
it.
what
these
they
days,
call it.
combating.
Yeah.
He's in his room combating.
Are you close to finding out who Person A is?
Jeez.
I thought of that bad line about 6 minutes ago, and
Oh,
I was
good.
like, I know
you've been-
Gus is going to
you've been
hate this.
holding onto it.
I have to say it at some point.
Person A3.
Person A.
I feel like I'm still at the point like 2 to 3 hours in where I'm gonna try and keep the momentum of playing it up so I don't fall off it like I did with 5.
Yeah,
Because I
totally.
do think for me personally, those games are very quick to go like, what am I playing here?
I find all JRPG style games is like you have to be in the momentum of them, and I can't play anything else around them.
Yep.
Because otherwise, I realize that there are better games.
Yeah.
You got to be into the
mechanic-
story, I think, with JRPGs. Like, you need to
totally.
be-
Story and mechanic. Once you're in the mechanic, you want to stay in it while it
Yeah.
makes sense.
It's that thing that you're talking about where like, because I find like from an ADHD perspective, the amount of like reading and stuff that you have to do is tough to hold my attention. And then when it's like, do you want to go here or do you want to go there or do you
don't
want to go
read, do
this
you?
at this time of day? That's when I'm like, ugh.
I would actually say to that quickly that it doesn't really give you much options of where to go. It's quite limited. And the ADHD thing is it just does not stop going, we should go to school now. Okay, school's over. Time to go home. You should get some rest. The Tartarus is tonight. Do you want to go to the Tartarus or go to school? It's late after school. I'm like, what is happening? It just keeps going with like one line of dialogue. So I think in terms of
That's actually pretty. That's good.
keeping you
Streamlined.
engaged,
Yeah.
you're
So
like,
yeah,
you
Sounds
get
like
no
it's
chance-
designed for the ADHD generation.
It's
Yeah.
like you've got no
Wow.
time to put it down, and everything is a full wipe with a cool like evening to morning, and I'm
Yeah.
like, this is wild. But I think Persona fans are like trained to enjoy that.
That's
so
sick.
it is yeah, it's cool. It's on Game Pass,
I've,
and
I've
it's
played a couple of hours of it. And
yeah?
I've never played a Persona game. I'm not a huge like anime guy either, but it just feels like I'm playing an anime.
Cool.
Like all the transitions, and as Gus was talking about the
Yeah,
style and
yeah.
stuff.
Some-
It
and
seems
when
like a
they-
good like mind numb sort of couch game for me. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I'm literally playing it in bed with a backbone because it's so little interaction. Even the dungeon exploring and stuff, it's quite simple just to like press a few buttons for text and
Yeah,
a
which
few
is totally
buttons
where
for-
these games would sing, wouldn't it? Be
Yep.
handhelds and stuff. Yeah.
So it's cool.
Right?
Yeah.
Cool.
There we go.
Nice. Joe,
Well, I've been playing Halo.
what a surprise!
What a surprise.
Why
Just to
brought
mix
you-
things up a bit. Just because I haven't been playing enough of it over the last 2 years, 3? Is it entering?
Yeah.
It just entered its second full year, or third full
Third
year.
full year.
Finished
Entering-
its second year, entering its third year.
Have you ever joined in on Hump Day Halo?
Only a couple. I'm usually a bit too busy on Wednesday nights to play, but
Fair.
they are good fun.
He's
I do
actually
enjoy
busy
it.
playing Halo with
Oh,
other
yeah,
people.
yeah.
but that's
No,
fair
no,
enough.
no.
It's
If
a
I was
different
playing
server.
Halo, I would join up with you guys.
Fair enough.
Dolphin pants, yes. I play Halo. Yes.
Tell us about it, Joe.
I mean, I don't know how much I have to recap. Like, I think we all know what Halo is. It's a first-person sci-fi shooter from the developers
From Bungie,
original developers Bungie, now 343. It launched. Halo Infinite launched pretty fine.
Fine is a
fine.
good word
Like
for it, yeah.
the single player was fine. The multiplayer was pretty fun. Suffered from support, but now like I think they're all guns blazing. Especially thanks to Forge, which is the community map making tools.
Yeah.
They've just dropped 5 new maps into Big Team Battle, which is pretty much like instantly doubles
Double,
the playlist,
yeah.
if not slightly more. No, I think it pretty much perfectly doubles probably.
Yeah.
And these are all community made maps using the community made tool. So what we're seeing here is, I forget what the new name is, but this is a remake of Headlong from Halo 2, made by a fan. You look at it, it looks gorgeous. Looks like a
Actual map. Yeah.
it looks like a map a developer would make. Looks
Died,
like an
change
actual
your
map.
settings.
Yep.
Well, I guess
It must be because it's inverted.
That's
I
the
mean,
problem.
yeah, we've spoken about the game at length since its launch, or like we'll come back to it. But like, what's fascinating, I think, is just getting your perspective on like, as a diehard Halo fan, you know, you've been through that little roller coaster of it at the start. Like, what's kept you playing, and potentially, like, is this the long-term service Halo game that you wanted out of?
I mean, what's
Infinite?
kept me playing is that I think they absolutely nailed the Halo feel that I love. So it's just a joy to play. Like, I love the gun feel. The time to kill is like perfect. The weapons, the sandbox, it's kind of leaning into the Halo 3 plus kind of era.
Yeah.
With enough new mechanics that it feels modern. And like in terms of the live service, yeah, I mean it was a bit slow. Definitely the first season or two was slow and rough, but now I feel it's fine. Like, you know, I struggle to play through almost everything they do now. Like,
Yeah.
Because they're up to season.
well, they've stopped
They've ditched
seasons.
So
This is what I want to know. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I want to talk to you about because they've season 5 is it 4? 6?
I think was the last one.
Was the last full season, and that
And what does a
launched
season-
with Firefight.
What does a season involve in Halo?
Well,
Okay,
it's like it's basically just a way that they package content and a battle pass, a seasonal kind
Yeah.
of battle pass. So
Which is cosmetic.
a cosmetic drop path, and you know, a good season would have a couple of new maps, and they introduced the Bandit, which is a new weapon, which is now the starting weapon in ranked as well. So they're trying to change the meta in a way
Yeah,
that good
keep it
live service
updated.
games do.
And like a
going-
limited mode occasionally as well, or
Yeah,
not?
every week they change the playlist.
Yep.
There's a rotational set of playlists that
Yeah.
jump in there.
Sorry
but
to cut you off, Pete. I was just with the TikTok's been taken down.
What for?
For sexual content, so I assume probably the cum chat from before has been picked up by.
Or
by
was it
TikTok.
him saying breeding? It was him when he said breeding
I think
once.
it might be the cum talk from before. So
We were talking about a
no
natural
comment.
thing that happens.
absolutely, yeah. No, I 100% agree, and I think it's important to talk about it and normalize it.
TikTok
but,
does not support
TikTok,
No.
yeah. I mean, we'll work on it.
Devastating.
We'll reapply to try and get live access back for next week. We'll see
Like,
how we go.
Wait,
have we
so-
been banned?
Well, our live access has been removed. Yes.
Okay, cool. Okay.
Wow.
That's fine. We can.
yeah.
We can.
Because I
we
mean,
can work
look,
on it.
it's the camera that's here watching me press buttons, but it is it is
audio
clear, crystal clear program audio. So,
So we got everything you said.
How do you differentiate cum cum from cum come?
Some
Context.
flags.
Context.
I
There
think
is
it was
context,
the.
yeah.
I think it was the proximity to the word pussy.
Did I say pussy?
No one said.
I don't think I
pussy.
said pussy. I said daddy
you said
coming in.
daddy
You said
coming.
daddy.
Yeah.
I think there's a harder
We would be banned from TikTok again.
Let's
You
get
didn't
back
say
to Halo,
cunts.
maybe. Let's
Yeah,
get
you
back to
said
Halo.
cunts.
Yeah.
Which
Either
is
way.
the first time I've ever said that sentence in my life. But let's get back to Halo.
Back to Halo. So they had seasonal content that would come out. And I agree. They've kind of reached now a cadence of delivery of content that is what you'd expect out of a live service game. It is really satisfying to know that there's new stuff coming at like shorter intervals than when it first started, and it was a year until the next
Yeah.
one, basically.
Yeah.
However, in the latest update, they've reframed seasonal content to what they're calling CU
29.
Oh, no.
29,
Yeah.
which is
good.
just literally content update.
Not CUM 29.
No,
Joe.
no. They've made a TikTok safe alteration to the naming convention of their content.
Yeah.
That has sparked conversation about whether Halo Infinite as a live service game has entered a Halo Masterchief collection
End of life.
end of life support, while now the majority of the team moves on to whatever the next Halo project is.
Great.
I
Bring
too,
me more
I-
Halo.
I too am okay with that.
Yeah. I mean, I love Infinite, but I want more Halo, like new Halo.
Yeah.
That's what I
Yeah.
want. You
Yeah,
know?
totally. I think like we are diehard Halo fans. This game is the best, in my opinion, the best Halo first-person shooter that 343 have made. I think the Halo
Oh, for
Wars
sure.
games
Yeah.
are great, but
They
this-
weren't made by 343.
Oh, weren't they?
No, I think
thought that team got rebranded.
Ensemble Studios.
Of course it was
They did the
Ensemble,
first
yeah,
one,
yeah.
and then
They know how to-
Creative Assembly
and
did
then-
the second.
Yeah, people who make.
Yeah. They
That
knew
kind
they
of
were
game.
like, we don't make these.
But
Yeah.
then it's the best Halo game that 343 have made.
Oh, hands
in my
down.
in
Yeah,
my opinion,
yeah.
it feels the most Halo.
Definitely the multiplayer, at least. I mean, some people may like the campaigns of the other one more for whatever reason, but other
Yeah.
ones. But yeah.
I'm there for the campaign for 10 hours. I'm there for the multiplayer for 1,000 hours. So
I definitely think it's
I
a
want
better
the
campaign as well.
multiplayer
though.
too.
Like,
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I want more games from the Halo, from a lore perspective, from
Yeah.
the Halo universe from a lore perspective. So I want
Yeah.
more campaign content. I think they just had such a rough start that any hope of retaining a COD-like following,
Yeah.
a player base, was lost early on, and they
Yeah.
can't capture a broader
You can never
audience
get that
again.
back,
They
really.
just have the core fans there.
Yeah.
Which sucks for the esports team as well, because it could have had this massive resurgence in esports, which I feel
Yeah.
like
Totally.
it's suffered from also.
They're going into season 3 of the Halo Championship series, so Microsoft are still supporting competitive Halo for another year in
The
Halo
prize
Infinite.
is still $1 million at the end of the year, so the prizes hasn't gone down or anything.
Okay.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
still Halo bucks around.
Yeah. I think the teams
Only usable in Halo World.
Yeah.
I think there's less teams competing a bit. I think.
There are a few. Oh,
I forgot. I forgot.
You just did a Scotty.
yeah. Yeah, there are fewer teams, licensed teams.
Yep.
I think there are maybe the same amount of teams, but they're not as
the big ones. Yeah.
So there's still plenty of interest in Halo from a core perspective, and I think there is a better sentiment around this than definitely around Halo 5 from a multiplayer perspective broadly.
I mean, both 4 and 5, I played like a handful of matches, and I was like, doesn't feel right.
Doesn't feel like Halo.
As soon as I played this, I was like, that's
What do
the one.
you when you jump on to play at night or during the day? I don't know why I said that.
Yep.
But like, what's your go-to sort of mode style? Are you
At
in
the
for
moment,
tight
I'm
little
actually
sweaty
loving.
matches, or?
I jump on and I'll play like 3 or 4 firefights.
Okay.
I just find that really fun just to
Tightens
jump
it
in.
up,
Awesome,
kind
isn't
of-
it?
Yeah, it's a good little firefight mode. If you
Firefight
if-
being what,
five-
4v4?
So firefights, 4 people on a team drop in, and it's just against AI. It's just PvE.
It's the wave mode.
It's wave mode.
yes,
It's the
of
horde
course,
mode.
sorry. Yeah.
So, and they've got a new. This one's like a spin on it, where it's firefight king of the hill. So you just kind of have to like have your team hold a point. Enemies will spawn around that point and try and like take it off you. You can lose the point to the enemies.
That's right.
You can
Pete
win
showed us that
point.
the other week. I can't believe I haven't picked that up yet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's super fun, super chill. I find it's just a good way to warm me up. Then I'll jump in a few quick plays. The reason I really love Firefight though is just because it's like instant to matchmake.
Yeah.
Whereas I've been struggling whenever I jump on. It's like sometimes you're waiting a minute. Sometimes some playlists just time out.
Wow. Yeah,
Completely,
okay.
and I just get really frustrated with that. So I'm just like, I just want to play. I want to jump on Halo and I want to play Halo, and I can do
Is
that
that
in
because
Firefight.
on
People
low
are-
ping as well?
Is that because
Yeah.
people are playing it, or because it can drop you in with less than 4 solo? Or is it
I
always
think
a
it's
full
just
squad?
because the matchmaking's completely doesn't matter. It's just like, whereas when you're trying to do quick play, we're reasonably high skill level,
Yeah.
so it's trying to make sure it's balanced team. So like, if
Even
we were,
not in ranked, there is skill-based matchmaking,
Yeah.
which is a broader conversation around all shooters at the moment of like how much skill-based matchmaking impacts
there be?
social
Yeah.
playlists.
Yeah.
Can we briefly talk about that competition that you were in?
Sure, yeah.
Just because I find that was wild to me, and I've never seen anything like that in terms of how it was structured and run. And a bit of a racket, but like amazing.
No, it's not. It's not a racket because no one's making money off it except the people who win.
Halo
But the
Bucks.
guy that was running it takes
No,
a cut, right?
He's invest.
If
Let
he
me go
wins.
from the start.
Okay.
So, because it's the Halo scene in Australia is reasonably dire,
yeah,
as you're talking about. If I go and search in ranked, I can't find a game.
yeah,
If I go and search in ranked with a party, I can find games.
Mm-hmm.
But if I go solo, it's highly unlikely that I'll find a
I haven't
game.
been able to touch rank for seasons because
Yeah.
don't
It's
have
just
a
as
crew.
broken. Most people who want to play really consistently pros are using VPNs and playing on a ping. They're pretending they're in America and they're playing on American ping, or they get really unlucky and they use a VPN and pretend to LA and then get matched with Australians and have a ping of 450.
Wow.
The
Just
worst you
going
can get.
there and back.
Yeah.
But that's how people are playing. And so, and you know, when the first year of HCS, there was a LAN at DreamHack in Australia. Australia was on the calendar in a way. There was like a reason for people to play. Now there is not. So community stuff is happening. There's a guy who's got a channel called Mac Apsu, who runs community tournaments. He's been doing that for a year. Recently, and that's teams signing up and playing. So forming teams that scrim, play together, really good teams. This recent thing was it's a new community initiative, and it is a switcheroo, which is something that exists in Halo COD. But the point of it is that it is randomly rolled teams, and it's not based on skill ranking. So you will sign up, you pay an entry fee, $10, $15. Everyone pays the entry fee. You get put into a randomly rolled team, and then you can see which team you're in. You might be with 3 pros, and it's you, and you're like, we got this.
Yep.
Or you might be in a crappy team. Then you get the option to re-roll the teams by spending money.
But you re-roll the teams for everyone.
Everyone. So the entire thing gets re-rolled when, for
certain amount gets reached.
at the start, there's 3 times $20 rolls, so they get reached.
Yeah.
All of that money goes into the prize pool.
Yeah, okay.
So then the winning team takes 60%. The team that comes second takes 30%. Then third teams take.
Walk it
take
back
some
a step. You might be put in that team with 3 pros and then see it reaching the respin goal
And then
go,
it respins.
oh shit.
Absolutely.
It was what because I was like, is anyone
Wow.
streaming it? Because like from just the gambling perspective, it was thrilling to watch.
Yeah.
I don't care about Halo. I don't watch.
The
I don't
game
watch any
starts
Halo.
and you're like, turn off. Come back for the teams.
I would see that they'd be like, oh, we're rolling again, guys, and you see it, and you see it, the chat. People would just be like, yes, and someone would go no, and they'd be like, we've got to save so and so. He's in a shit team. Who can put in money to roll again? And then they would all go like,
wow.
roll, and then they would get to the point where he'd be like, okay, if we get another $50, that'll extend the timer a minute. And then to get more money to try and roll again. And this
Holy.
went for 3 hours before the match even started.
Wow.
It
What?
started about
Constantly
10.
rolling.
It started about 10:15, and it went till
And-
AM?
And the cost
AM. Yeah, and it went until
What was the
past
prize
and the
1 o'clock.
cost to roll just goes up and up and up and
It got
up.
to $5,000.
How many matches were played in that period?
Oh, they
No
didn't
matches were played in that
Oh, right.
3 hours. None.
Right.
That's
but, like,
just
in
getting
the
teams
whole
together.
like
Across the
Yeah.
whole thing.
Yeah.
It was so then this most recent one was there were 10 teams, so there were 2 pools of 5, and so in pool play everyone plays everyone.
Yeah.
Then the top 8 teams progressed into winners and losers bracket style playoff, so a double elimination bracket. And so like the teams that won, the team that won, and the team that came second would have played 10 or 11 matches or something.
Right.
You would,
And that's the pool rounds were best of 3s, and then the bracket was best of 5s. So you would play at least 3 games once you got to the bracket stage.
you would see so many amazing teams that you would get placed with come and go, and then you'd just be living through the heartbreak of being like the perfect team was 5 rolls ago, but and then you'd be like with an okay team, and you're like, I would be better off just sticking with this than hoping for another one.
Gamified the
It was
selection
it was
process.
just amazing. Every time I would get up and out of my chair and I'd open the door and I'd go, good, and Peter would be like, and then I'd go back in and then they'd be like, we're rolling again. I'd be like, oh, and then I'd go back in and I'd be like, this one, and Peter'd be like, it's better, and I'd be like, oh.
It's such an interesting way to run. Like that
Yeah.
would be-
Totally. It's a obviously you would never run that as
Professionally as a-
Microsoft.
Yeah.
That's an awful look.
Yeah.
But from a like, you know, most of the people playing Halo are like 20 to 30-year-old tradie males, basically. So everyone's chipping in like,
Also, to get to
I got
just
$100 that I can put towards this thing,
to
and
get to
I might
$5
win
grand as a
800.
prize pool, sorry, that's a healthy amount, and for a casual game, that's a cool amount to be able to dangle there, and a good way to get to it.
Yeah.
You're right. The second you open that up to anything professional with sponsorship and all that kind of stuff, and trying to get a max prize pool, it feels predatory. Whereas in that smaller scale of beer league Halo, it kind of feels
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Like
I heard one guy go like, even if my team won, I would still not make back the money I have spent rolling to get a good enough team.
I've heard that from many.
But I guess it's just about the joy
many
of it,
someone
like-
sitting at a pokey saying,
Totally,
I have
it's,
to roll
it's,
this.
it
Yeah,
is
yeah,
gambling.
yeah.
It's, I mean,
Yeah.
it's gambling
But it was
for
like-
sure.
but-
And everyone has their line. Like for me, I'm going to spend X amount of money, and whether I'm on a good team or not, I'm going to make sure it spins enough that the prize pool gets to $1,000.
Yeah,
For
yeah.
me, that's my line. I'm like, if it's at $1,000, that means that all the kids that are playing are excited about playing. Like
Yeah.
that's cool, right?
Yeah.
Like they could win a bit of money.
At least as well, they're like, yeah, it's an element of gambling, but you know, real gambling is pretty much mostly luck, other than maybe poker and a few more skill-based ones. Like,
Yeah.
your roulette, your craps, you're rolling the dice. It's
Yeah.
literally.
This is a level of gambling I'm on board with, especially because it's not about one person bankrolling a spin. It's like
Yeah.
you can all kind of contribute towards
That's
like
true.
rolling
So once it gets
again.
up to $100, 5 people could put in $20 to have it spin.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it's a cool system like that. And,
And,
yeah,
and the last question I have is, once you hit your line and run out of money to keep putting in, you're still in the tournament. You just are the victim of all the rolls. That are
Yeah,
happening.
exactly. Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's not
yeah.
like you're losing the chance.
But victim
to
or like benefit.
or yeah, you might get the benefit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wild.
A lot of it comes from like without official investment and support, like
Yeah.
people have got to brainstorm new ways to try
Yeah.
and come up with supporting
I-
community events, and I think it's a
Yeah.
brilliant way to do
Because
that.
the alternative is just someone
Yeah.
bankrolls and goes, I had a lot of money, I put it out there as a prize pool. It's just that feels even less
Yeah,
like
yeah.
of a, not a bad thing, but it doesn't feel as community focused and like, let's make this a thing that we can all prop each other up. It's like one person. we're at the mercy of one person's bank account.
Yeah, I'd never seen anything like it before, and it's totally born out of the fact that there aren't enough, there isn't enough of a scene in there that I found. Yeah, like you said, it's a really creative, clever way to kind of
Steph,
generate
next time I go to the
interest.
Star, you coming with me. Boxcars, baby.
Yeah.
And how did you place?
We came second in our pool, and then we flunked out. We lost. We went straight into the winners bracket, and we lost. And then we lost our first losers bracket.
Were
matchup as
there
well.
like the Halo Pro community there?
Yeah, there were some pros, right? So I was playing with a pro, but then I also had someone who's I regard pretty much every person who's playing in that thing as better than me.
Sure.
But I'm competitive-ish.
Yeah.
And so, but there was a team that had 3 pros on it, and it was like everyone knew from the start, like they're winning.
Was
Yeah,
Barcode
yeah.
in there?
Barcode wasn't in there. No, Barcode was.
All right,
I think
no,
on
no,
playing
no, no.
He's one of the best Halo.
I'm
players.
wearing the Halo shirt
Yeah,
here.
that's true.
If I
Yeah,
don't know, this is Pete's shirt actually. For people pointing out in the chat.
So
Getting two in the
congratulations
weeds.
to Barcode too. Barcode just got a huge announcement picked up by a team overseas. So
Yeah,
Oh, really?
He's
Nice.
back. He's back on native.
Good.
Yeah,
I'm glad to
yeah,
hear that.
Yeah, it's good.
He's a good lad.
He is a good
So,
boy.
Joe, you like Halo?
Love Halo. Love
we
me a
talk
little bit of
about
Halo.
Halo?
Yeah. Well, I believe we have more Halo to talk about later, but we can move on from Halo for now if we want.
A few people pointing in there just the grey area of what that was. That is still, as I said, a community kind of tournament that everyone came in knowing those were the rules and not being like urged to spend money or anything as well.
No,
I'm not
no,
defending
no,
it
no,
directly, but
no.
it was you came in and know what your
You
team,
can
so
you can participate in it and just pay the entry fee and still
sit the rest out.
Yeah,
probably,
and totally benefit from the
Yeah.
randomness of the roles and
Before we move on,
Please.
I would like to share a little quick story.
Love it.
Because growing up, I was obsessed with Halo. No surprise.
Yeah.
And I was the best at Halo amongst my friends, and like I'd play Halo 2 online and would usually do very well.
Yeah.
And I was pretty cocky. And then this bastard joined the team.
I'll
and
say,
I-
hey,
like
what's that
everyone
really
I've ever 1v1'd in Halo, like yeah.
shit,
You were
yeah.
like, oh, I like Halo. I'm like, all right, fine. Yeah, let's go. Let's have a go. Fucking
Wipe the floor
trounced
with you.
me, and I was like, the fuck is this guy?
But I reckon like I've played a lot more Halo Infinite than you as well because I've been consistently playing it.
and you've been playing ranked as well. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
Your,
And-
your
and-
BR shot's nasty. Like,
Yeah, but like we go like trading.
When we
Top
played
of the
together,
leaderboard
like
when we played
yeah,
together,
we
for
have
sure.
good games and bad games.
Yeah.
Like there are games where I'll outkill you. Usually you'll outkill me. Like I think
You're a mean shot.
I'm a mean shot. I'm
You're a
alright.
mean shot.
I'm alright. I think yeah. If
I'm
if-
convinced I'll come and join you
yeah,
guys
yeah,
and
yeah.
show you the real.
the first
He's got the shirt.
The first season I shut him down because I was like, I was like, we should play. He was like, we should play ranked together. I was like, we're not going to play ranked together because we won't match together.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, we'll match it. And I was like, all right, do your placements. And he was like, I got gold. And I was like, gold is 3 levels lower than me. we literally cannot queue together. Gold's the best.
Gold's the
Yeah,
best,
gold's good.
right? Let's go higher the gold.
Olympics.
Love that. Actually, yeah, there are nights when I've like been up. It's like 2 a.m. and I'm like playing Xbox fishing, and I'm like, I should probably stop playing. It's late, and this is stupid. Pete
Pete
playing
is still
Halo.
playing
I'm like,
Halo.
well, someone else. Is
I really love the Halo, the little Halo community that's still there.
Yeah, yeah.
I got a message, an invitation to a Xbox party as the show was starting from one of the guys that plays Halo. He sends me one all the fucking time, but it's constantly happening.
Yeah.
Halo. It's
Yeah.
just that people, the people that are on there are always
People
playing.
who love Halo, like
It's
you
awesome.
ride or die with Halo. I think when
Yeah.
you get into it.
Love it.
Yeah.
it was Scardy Macindagd. I was just trying to stop her from jumping up on the couch, but she has a will of her own.
Thank you for being on the show,
have
so we
we-
can indulge your
Halo.
dog.
Halo. Yeah, yeah. There's
Have we
two of
talked
us
about
now.
Have we talked about enough Halo?
Good work.
Not yet.
Next week is just a Halo show, I think. I think we should start our own
I'll
podcast.
come back. Yeah.
Are there any
buddies.
podcasts with just 2 white guys talking about video games?
Two
start one.
30-year-old white guys,
Yeah.
mid-30s white guys talking
There
about
could be
Halo.
some-
yeah.
we could be onto something here.
Wow, guys.
Look, you put one Hawaiian shirt on this guy, and he gets whiter than he's ever been. Cool.
Nice. Should we go to a break?
Those
not?
games were.
They were.
Let's not go to a break. I'd love to talk about Halo some more. And
Steph I was running that segment.
Oh,
Were
you were
you?
too.
You played Skull and Bones.
but do you see how like I have trauma that it's always my fault and that I've forgotten something. So I instantly default like you're right.
I just gaslit you. I'm
Skull
so
and
sorry.
Bones, Persona 3, not golden. What's it called? Reload.
I had to reload it, clearly. But yeah, we did just get a ruby. Reload.
Helldivers 2 and Halo Infinite.
Love it.
We'll be back after this ad break.
With more Halo.
The following is a paid advertisement for the Reese Wild Music Collection.
Take the power of rock and a man who loves rocks. And you got yourself Reese Wild's Rock Songs, a collection of some of Reese's best rock songs.
Oh, hi. I'm Stephanie from Steph and the Back Pockets. We've been rocking together since July 2020, but no one I know rocks harder than Reese.
And now, all of Reese's best rock hits are together in one 82 CD collection, including such hits as Make Love Not Or, Lime After Lime, Chalk on the Wild Side, Wouldn't It Be Nice, Me and Dwayne Johnson, and 1, 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock Sandstone. Just 4 easy payments of $99.99, plus GST, plus taxes, plus customs, plus import fees, plus local taxes, and you'll have access to all of Reese's back catalog, including his breakthrough single, My Love Is Like a Rock Slide. We even cover his later years, when he was just phoning him in. Can You Feel the Love, Granite? All about that bassonite. You're the one that I want to be fossilized in. Rock. Signed, sealed, delivered. I'm Quartz. I just called to say I love rocks. And who could forget Rock Lobster?
I love rocks, and so does Reese.
With a collection as timeless as a naturally occurring mass of solidified mineral matter, you'd have to have rocks in your head not to rush to the phone right now and order your very own copy of the Reese Wild Rock Music Collection. Because unlike a gemstone with a reciprocal of compressibility of 443 gigapascals, this deal won't last forever.
Madam Web is out and the hype is real. Bad. But an exciting thing, we are getting to see 4 Spidey Peeps on the big screen for the very first time, so I thought I'd take a look at where they've popped up in video games. Cassandra Webb, Madam Web herself, rocks up in 1984 for Quest Probe featuring Spider-Man, a text prompt-based adventure game. She later shows up in Shattered Dimensions, tasking a quartet of interdimensional Spider Bros to retrieve some fragments of a mystical tablet before their superior foes get to it. Julia Carpenter is most notably a team-up character in Marvel Heroes, complete with her glowing psionic energy. Anya Corazon, like other Spider Peeps, is a 2D sprite and collectible card in most recent Marvel mobile games, but is also a playable character in Marvel's Avengers Academy, a game where all of Marvel are youths and go to college, even Thanos' son. Lastly, Maddie Franklin's Spider-Woman. Maddie's only appearance is an unlockable skin in the Spider-Man Unlimited mobile game. All the Spider People also appear as unlockable suits in the game, and I mean all. It was the best Spidey game, by the way. Bring it back!
And welcome back, everyone, to Back Pocket, the slightly Halo-themed special. If you didn't catch the last segment, you wouldn't understand why, but there's another segment coming up that will explain that. We just had an ad break there, and we saw words from, a new word, I should say, from Dolphin Pants, a Baldur's Gate in memoriam from our session that we had.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. All the things in there. The hole.
The hole
I saw.
Did we fill the hole?
We filled the hole.
Guys.
But, yep. 2D as well. So thank you to Dolphin Pants for sending that in.
The last one on the in memoriam, which Steph actually missed, was
I had to pee.
Steph's sanity.
In RIP.
That was the
RIP.
last one.
Yeah. Because it died.
I mean, to be fair,
So-
was it there?
I'm
Stuff?
so I'm so
Shots fired.
thrilled that we'll never play that game again together.
And we also saw an ad there for Reese Wild and his rock album, Pick It Up Today. There was also an ad for our socials in there. Little Will did a social for Madam Web, a great little off-the-cuff thing. We're trying some hot, spicy takes that are just coming straight off the presses these days.
I
on our
came in
socials.
yesterday and Will was like, I wrote a thing about Spider-Man. Can I do it? And I was like, yeah.
Of course.
You fucking wrote it.
Damn
Do it.
right. Heard the film's not good, but he had
Right.
fun making a social. So check that out. Follow us at Backpocket Vids everywhere. And that was the ad break. Now, we're going to move on with the show with a segment that I'm very excited is back for another year. It's one of my favorites. Hopefully it's yours as well. It's Challenging Times.
I love this intro.
It goes for a while, but in a good way. In a way that you want it to keep going.
Yeah,
I forgot my
what's the next
glasses.
one?
She forgot
Oh,
her
you need the
glasses. Well, while Steph
glasses.
gets the glasses,
Need the
I will
glasses.
let everyone at home know that Challenging Times, the best segment we run, is brought to us by A. Timothy.
Touch grass.
Oh, touch
Is
grass.
Is that a custom little announcement?
That's yeah. That must have been a
metal?
cameo.
Touch
Metal?
grass?
It's not a metal
I found it online.
That's not a metal I recognize.
Yeah.
It must have been a cameo, yeah.
It's a cameo.
Interesting.
So
It's
that,
a lot of work on cameo.
that
As you should,
is
yeah.
presented by A. Timothy. Thank you, A. Timothy. As we do when we have a segment sponsored by A. Timothy, I find us a famous Tim or Timothy. And I leave you guys up to working out who it is based on my clues. Now, we've kind of run out of some Timothys here. We've either got really famous ones that are super obvious or really abstract ones. So instead of trying to find a different Tim that we might know, I've just changed the clue system.
We've done Oliphant.
We've done Oliphant.
That
We've
was
done
one of the first
Chalamet.
Timothys we did.
Chalamet, yep.
We've done... We've done both Tim Allen and Tim the
And Tim
Toolman
the
Taylor.
Taylor,
yeah.
So this one, I'm just going with single words at a time before someone jumps in and gets it.
Ooh.
So here we go.
Interesting.
Yell out the Tim when you get it. First word, frog. Second word,
Tim Henson?
Jim Henson.
Jim Henson.
Yep.
Yep. That
Yeah,
was, that's his
what
famous
is
brother. Tim Henson.
second word,
Second word
was a frog.
Was a cough.
second
that was
word,
Kermit.
Yeah.
Kermit was
Timmy.
little Timmy.
third word, crutch.
Oh,
that's from
Kermit.
the-
Well,
In,
no.
Muppets A Christmas Carol.
I thought
Christmas Carol,
I mean, it's
yeah.
Timmy from.
Who's the
Tiny,
father
Tiny,
of?
Tiny Tim.
Tiny Tim. Well done, Joe.
Tiny
It is Tiny
Tim,
Tim from the Muppets, which was the little frog.
Specifically the Muppet, not the Charles Dickens.
Fuck Dickens. I'm all here for Jim Henson and his brother, Tim Henson, or cousin. So thank you, Tim, for sponsoring this segment and being a patron of the show. Now, we're going to get on with the show. But before we do, we're going to have a quick look at the previous Challenging Time scoreboard. So the last time we ran this segment, we did a time trial in Super Mario Bros. Wonder. We did one of the Wiggler races, Joe, and we got everyone to try and set a time on the Wiggler track.
the Wiggler
The
races.
Wiggler race. Yeah, yeah.
know,
I know
Joe.
the Wiggler. I played. You can check out my review of it on ABC Gamer.
There you
Anyway,
go. I was looking
yeah,
for a
there's
cross-promo plug.
Yeah.
Plug.
Thank you, Joe. We set times that you will see sporadically placed on that scoreboard. If you work away from the bottom up, you'll see.
You might think that the goal of this is to be the fastest, but it's actually to see if you can
You
be
got the highest score.
slower
You're on the-
than
you're on
me.
the top
Is the
there.
real.
Yeah.
Is
got
the
the highest
real.
score.
Right.
Yeah,
I see. You
challenge.
need the wooden spoon.
We've done the segment many times, and I come last every single time.
But we have fun when we do it. And so also we should point out that we did that without badges. So some people did submit their times, but they did tell us when they had the speed badge. All of those those times up there were without the speed badge. And again, shout out to Blinky, who got the best time there at 54 something. Josh, I think that was on the top of the scoreboard.
I've got it off, but yeah.
I've got it written down here. So well done to Blinky, who was the overall winner there. 54-41, no badge. Well done.
Badges were cheating. Anyone who submitted a time with a badge,
they pointed it out. So
I know, but it's still shameful.
It's very shameful.
Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Depends what the badge is. Some of them might not actually help.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
It's like I won an Olympic swimming race. I was in a boat.
If they got the invisible badge, like that should add points.
See where it doesn't say.
That makes it hard. You can't
Hilarious
see
answer.
yourself.
Yeah, okay, that is.
That's because I didn't put it here.
Yeah.
Because they're still running on the Halo High.
Sure,
Yeah, that's what that is.
They're
Well, because we're running on a Halo High, we're going to have a new segment, a new challenging time, and as usual, I like to announce it with a little audio grab that I put together. And Josh, if you'd be so kind, hit that sting now.
Double kill. Triple kill. Checkpoint reached. Lap complete. Hello to the back pocket team. Steph, Gus, Peter, and a special welcome to Joe. Or should I call him Gog? Now I hope you're ready for a segment that will have you all running riot. It's time for challenging time.
I was like, for 2 days, we shouldn't do a race in Halo Forge because it will only be okay. It won't work that well. And Gus was like, we have to do it. He was like, so adamant that it was like, it's gotta happen. It looks so good. And I was like, it's okay, but what if we did this instead? It could be better. And you're like, no. And I was like, all right, he's really into it for some reason.
He's so into it that he's put his own money behind it, Peter.
How much did that cost?
Let's not talk about that.
Did you pay for touch grass as well?
No.
So was that a cameo?
That was Cameo. I've got a full 5-minute wonderful video. If you'd like to see that, I'm putting it behind the paywall.
I want to see it so bad.
We're going to watch that on the post show.
That's
It's amazing. It's got a few more shout outs in there. Thank you so much.
If anyone doesn't know who that was, that is the wonderful Jeff Steitzer.
Thank you so much to Jeff Steitzer.
The Halo announcer.
Who is the Halo announcer who helped me out with that little audio grab there and for a small fee.
Holy shit.
Worth it. Worth it.
Wow.
Indeed.
He said our name. He said our name.
Steitzer said my name. It's actually a really interesting little story behind how it went down as well. And again, post-show, just purely we don't have the time to talk about it.
Yeah, cool.
So again, that's the segment we're playing. It's Challenging Times. We're doing it in Halo, and we're also doing it on a custom map. So you can do this at home yourself after we finish this and try and set your own times. We encourage you to do that. That's how this works. That's how you win the trophy on the behind Joe's head over there, which I should have got before. But we'll do it later. Now, Pete, if you wouldn't mind flicking over, I can talk us all through what we're going to be doing. It is a single lap time trial of a custom map that I found online from a user called Rush My Pancake. Is the name of the user. I have since downloaded it and modified it and published it, so you can find this map yourself. It is called, I believe, the
BP Challenging Times.
BP Challenging Times. The way to do it is to find me, Goose Mangus. You can just look up a player and look at their file share, and you will find the custom map BP Challenging Times. You need to open it in Reach, which is what we're in a custom solo game here. You make sure you set yourself to race as the mode, which everyone will have. It's not a custom game mode. And then you can set as many laps as you want because the timer will reset every time we finish a lap. So that way we can just keep playing it and
What
set
was the
our own
name of the
times.
original map creator?
Rush My Pancake.
Rush My Pancake is a fantastic.
It's a great
username.
one. They
Yeah,
created a
yeah.
map called CK Winding Woods, so props to them. Go check out their maps as well that they've made. But basically, everyone can take a map in Forge and rework it, which is what I've done.
Amazing.
Again, I'll just go in
The
here.
thing is, you don't want to rush a pancake.
You don't want to rush a
You can't
pancake.
rush a pancake.
So we can set multiple laps here, 100 laps, and we're just going to be like actually taking a personal snapshot as we go over the finish line.
Oh yeah, so chat.
our time?
Keep an eye on
Keen
the
eye on the
time
clock.
when we cross the finish line because
We'll probably forget.
can't
It
track
goes
that.
from a time to 0 as you cross
Correct.
the finish
If
line.
you're doing it on Xbox, this is the Master Chief collection, I should point out as well. If you're doing it on Xbox and you get a good time, you can hit capture that clip and roll back.
Yep.
I'm going to give us everyone is going to get a practice lap, which is what you're watching right now. We're on the Mongoose, and basically you need to clear all these checkpoints. There are no shortcuts. It is all about the drifting and all about the control over the Mongoose as you drive. It's actually surprisingly not as hard as you think, Steph.
So bad at
There's
this.
not too much here to watch out for. I've added one or two small obstacles, but again, I'm really interested to see what people come up with in terms of like the drifting, the no brakes, and how much speed you can keep on all the corners. It's pretty basic. Steph, pay attention. You're gonna need to remember all these terms.
Take
You
notes.
come around here again.
Steph couldn't drive you home from the studio.
Again, it's a terrain map. I've discovered a lot of people like creating terrain or structure racing maps. Terrain ones have a lot more little bumps and curves, which means you've got to really work at keeping your speed up as you come around each corner.
How do you drift?
You just basically turn
hard.
really hard. It's all about leading it
It's
with
not
the
a
cursor.
bumper.
You can pull the left trigger,
You
which
can
is
pull,
brake, and it'll fishtail you a bit more. but
Right trigger.
right,
In this
is it
case,
right
you
trigger?
pull right trigger and
Yeah,
you'll
okay.
get a brake, and you can add a little bit of drift. Left trigger is the horn. Now,
That won't help you drift.
that won't help. There is a jump here. Do not stress. When you go over the jump, there are softening pads here that'll bring you down, and there's a very little chance that you'll
that's
actually
nice.
crash. But once you get here, there is a landmine beach here. Some of them are hidden. If you do hit a landmine,
Hit it.
it's okay, because you can avoid them as you come through. Your mongoose will not actually completely be destroyed. If you do find yourself flipping off it, which I'll demonstrate here just for the
Do these
purpose.
respawn, or
They don't.
so you've just cleared 2 for us?
I could hit respawn again there.
I
Yes.
wouldn't.
Hold left bump to reset your warthog. Your mongoose, and hold it to get back on. So you could clear mines on your run through, and then they won't be there when you actually do your racing run. Now that's, as I said, because everyone's going to get one chance to roll through it like at this speed. Watch this one. It's a real doozy of a turn. You will lose a lot of speed on this
This
one,
one's a
and you want to
real
make
doozy.
sure you keep that speed up.
Phil?
And basically, to help us all, as you're hearing right now, all we're getting is just the sound of the engine. There's a shortcut there on the inside you could take if you want. But when you go through for your actual lap time setting, you will have a song to keep you motivated as you go through. I've picked all the music from the Halo series to keep us motivated. So just to demonstrate here, I won't even finish my full lap. I'm going to restart. But just to demonstrate, when you go over the starting line,
And
which is
watching
here,
the lap time here, it's about to go from
lap
2
time
minutes to 0.
2:15. Joe, hit the song, and then this will be me setting my actual time. What's up?
Joe, hit it.
No, sorry, Josh. I keep mixing you two up. So you'll have your practice lap in silence, and then you'll have your actual song while you
When
race.
things kick into
Exactly.
gear.
And this is how it would work. I'm going to reset instead of doing a whole one, or should I set my time?
Take your time.
Okay,
You're
got
on a
time
good
for
run
that.
here.
Again, avoiding the landmines, avoiding flips, and just keeping it going. And I did this about 25 times last night, and got some serious variations in my time. And that gives me hope that if people do download this and try and set better times, there's a big enough margin to try and actually like bleed quite a few seconds off it. You could take this one wide and then head up this little ramp here, if you feel so inclined.
I wouldn't feel inclined.
Steph's actually staring at this with
Well,
intent.
I have
so I'm,
no control over what happens. It may seem like I do because the controller is in my hands, but
No, no,
it's really
an illusion.
it's up
Control
to the
and
it's up to the
controller
fates.
are not connected.
So can we just point out that this music makes everything
Better.
just
yeah,
epic.
it's,
Yeah.
So I'm currently
Is
playing.
my song just the Benny Hill theme?
No,
Oh,
everyone's
they
music.
respawned. I think they did respawn.
Oh shit!
Oh,
shit!
you almost clipped that one.
Everyone's theme is the Halo theme, but you'll pick up a trend that I've chosen different versions of Halo with more and more epic songs as we go on. I'm doing okay at the
Why
moment.
did you use Reach's Forge?
So Reach is, along with Halo Combat Evolved in 2, is the only one with a race track, or race mode, I should say. 3 and 4
Infinite?
and Infinite.
Doesn't have an official race with checkpoints and stuff as well on the timers. So
Guys haven't got that yet.
This is
people
a
have
good time.
devised things with the Forge AI. 'cause
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
quite
they-
powerful.
All right,
but
watching 140,
7.
147.
147.
There we go.
Good time.
That's my time.
Nice.
All right, Joe, you're up first.
Okay.
So I'm going to actually just reset it once while we do this. And again, for anyone wondering if they look me up as Goose Mangus,
Look me up.
look me up, find my map, and you should be able to race it too. Just regular race, that's all you need, I believe.
You will also want to change to
I will.
default,
I will.
not from inverted to
Do you want
default.
to do? Yes. There we go, Joe.
Weird upside down people.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
You can't use Infinite for this, and Master Chief Collection is
On
a
Game Pass.
purchase.
Yes.
It is. It's on Game Pass.
on Game Pass?
Or I think it's like $12 now. Master Chief Collection. I think it's
pretty
on
cheap,
Sale,
yeah, on Steam, it's
On
like-
Steam.
Joe, change to inverted now.
I think you can you can buy them separately as well, I think. Maybe.
the
games?
the individual games.
I might be wrong.
Okay,
with that.
cool.
I might
okay.
be wrong.
Have a look because what you'll need
gamepad.
is Halo Reach.
Yep, configure gamepad down to the bottom two, look inverted, flat inverted, and you're good.
Why do you play inverted?
Because it's the right way to do it.
Yeah. We don't need to have this conversation again. We know we're right.
You're good, Joe. Back out of that.
I get
Save
why
on there.
he does
Yep,
because
save
his
save.
dad's a pilot, but I find
But I played computer games with a joystick when I was a kid as well.
computer games. That's how you know
You
you're
remember
old.
computer games,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I will do like when I play a flight sim, it
Yeah.
should be inverted.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
but I don't control my head
Oh,
inverted.
he's taking those
Yes, you
corners
do.
really tight. That's good.
What? Stop.
We had this discussion.
No, we've got a lot of, hang on, keep him right. We've got a lot of track together.
Okay.
though. He's learning the track as we talk. Please.
So, okay, let me demonstrate next to Joe while Joe is playing. Okay, I'm a joystick. I'm a pivot.
I regret bringing this up.
I am the stick. I want to look down.
You
What do
are
I
a
do?
stick.
I'm the stick. Consider me a stick. What do I want to do when I look down? I push myself forward. What do I want to do when I want to look up? I pull myself back. I am the pivot. I am the stick.
You are a stick. Joe.
I am
I
inverted.
took it too hard.
Naturally.
Joe proving.
God made me this way.
Pete, shut up. Joe proving that you can go too fast around certain
too
corners.
furious.
And too furious. I should point out as well,
Thank you.
Rush My Pancake.
I'm here all night.
Rush My Pancake originally made this map to go with a mode that they had made where you collected coins to buy other vehicles as you went around the map. So I was like blown away by what people had come up with in Forge. They'd made a full Mario Kart style.
Shout out to first time chatter.
I love dogs. I love
freedom.
freedom.
He says
Was
I'm
that
transgender.
Was that in response to I'm inverted?
Yes.
And they said I'm transgender? Love it.
Do a barrel.
I feel like your argument stands when when you're talking about a vehicle, but
This is a tough
but
one, Joe.
In like modern video games, when you're just thinking about someone's like a first-person vision,
Potential shortcut. Get between that tree and the rock on your
I
left.
don't.
Give it a trial now. Hardcore left.
I feel
Hardcore
like
left.
the instinct
Can you get
is
through
to
there?
press up to look
Not
up.
bad.
You're not controlling.
I don't have that instinct.
The position of a full vehicle.
I am because it's a 3D camera.
Oh.
The camera is in the 3D.
All right, Joe's about to go
Three
over
dimensions.
the starting line. Track at the ready. I worked so hard on this. Joe,
Pick
you're
up some
up. Ready?
music.
It's real.
Cue
Here
the
it goes,
music.
here it goes.
You're off.
Oh my!
I get the good one. I've already screwed it up on the first day.
No pressure. He was blown away by the music and the
Yeah,
preparation
I got
that I've
here.
done.
Distracted.
No, I have faith. I have faith. Because there is something, I'm not just filibustering, I promise. There is something about the driving style in Halo, which is like, it's about pointing where you want to go.
Loosey-goosey.
And like a little bit ahead of time as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't like it. And I notoriously overcorrect. Like even when I'm driving my car in real life.
This bit's surprisingly tricky just to avoid the pillars.
Oh, yeah.
The trick when you're driving and not trying to hit something, don't look at the thing you're trying to avoid, look at the space you're aiming for. My teacher taught me that. Joe, do you want to take this one wide or short? He's slowing down.
Yeah, like you would in a racing sim to take a
Look
tight
at that
corner.
focus.
Look
Give
at
me
that
the apex.
focus.
Stop talking to Joe.
Shut up, Gus.
He's furious.
I'm trying to win.
And fast.
Yeah.
Chat pointing out that Joe did get the Halo 2 theme with the guitar.
Yeah.
Ooh, going on the phone.
There's a great video of Steve Vai recording this. It was kind of like a behind the scenes. It was like a DVD extra on the limited edition Halo 2 release that came
That's
in
one
a
straight ahead.
silver steel box.
Oh, he's nailed it. That's good.
And it's like Marty O'Donnell and Steve Vai in a room and some other like hyper bungee like nerdy people, and they're like, oh my god.
Oh my.
And Steve Vai's just
Oh
like
my
sitting down and shredding, and they're like, he's like, he does a take, and they're like, is that good? And they're like, yeah, that's good.
Yeah, that'll do.
That's good. You did it.
I think that's the one.
Whoa, that's such a tight corner, and you can fall down the ramp. Oh no.
You've made good time here. You're 137. What did Gus set?
It was
147.
147.
Yeah.
Hug it on
You
the
might
left.
catch this. 146.
No, Keith, he's done
Oh, that was so close.
Bravo.
it. Steph's up next.
Just
Okay.
clinched it.
Well, I'll uninvert you.
No, she's already
No,
uninverted.
Joe's-
As long as I beat Gus.
Joe's
Yeah, it's been done.
standard.
And
He's wearing a
practicing.
Halo
And
shirt. He's been practicing and he's got a Halo shirt on.
Actually, which means, I'm so sorry, Steph, you could just
Race on.
race on. The lap time, the first one's practice lap. Yes, sorry, that totally makes sense.
As Miss Silver says, pwned.
Yep. Joe, if there's anyone who's going to beat me on this, I'm glad it's you. Steph, go for a drive.
That was fun, Gus. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for the Halo 2 theme.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
the
hate
music
it.
made it. for
Wait.
Sure.
Okay.
So that's right trigger. Okay. All right, let's see if we can 8-minute lap time in.
How long have we got
I
tonight?
don't understand how it works. Okay.
So yeah, just you want to
Push forward
hold
on
the
the stick.
left stick forward. Don't
Left
move
is
that
just
from
forward
side to
and
side.
Left is just
And
accelerate.
then you use the camera to drive.
Okay,
Basically.
okay.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Hold
left
forward,
stick,
use camera to drive.
backwards to reverse if you need to. but
Oh, no.
probably won't.
No.
No, you're good. You're good. It's all about preempting because
Harder
it has a
camera
huge
turns, harder
drift.
camera turns.
So as you're going
But
round
I'm
the corner,
scared of going too hard.
No,
You can't
you'll
really
do
go
the
too hard. You want to be turning
Oh
the
man, I
camera
really
for-
want to move the left stick to turn, and I am.
Again, the controls are not in control.
I think I have to move them both. Like I actually think for my brain, I have to move both sticks.
If it helps.
If not,
Do you want Gus to just hold forward on the left stick and you just control the camera?
no, because I need to slow down when I know that I'm gonna.
I appreciate
That's
as
a
well
tricky
that
one.
our audience, and I'm putting faith in them, that in the time it takes us to do 4 runs of it, someone's got in there and actually screenshot
Installed
at a time.
it, set it
Installed it. It should be relatively easy. Again, just make sure you select race in Reach as a custom solo match and pick the BP map. I think I published it. If not, it'll be up there by the.
Before you go charging down,
It's just it doesn't make sense.
does anyone drive stick?
It makes so much sense.
It doesn't.
It
I want
does.
the left stick should
send the
control
corner around. Send the
it.
corner around. Send it around. Yeah, start like sort of.
Not
The
too
le-
far.
Too much.
The
Too much.
left stick should control it.
I didn't think you could die in this.
Steph found
What
the
happens
way.
when you die?
There's respawns.
Ah, okay.
I built respawns.
I built.
So Dance asks, will Halo ever just have normal driving controls? And I would posit that every other game should have Halo controls.
Forza should
Let's
have
just
Halo
try it.
controls.
It should have Halo
Yeah.
controls, other than driving sims.
Let's
No,
just
like
do
when
it.
you play like
Okay,
an
it's
action
happening.
game,
Ready?
Yeah.
usually the vehicles control like absolute crap.
Yeah.
But Halo
Totally.
Halo has
Already
like
so
physics
much
and
better.
bounce.
Guys,
and-
It's gotten better.
Guys, it's working.
It's gotten better. Halo was
Joe.
always
Joe.
great.
Ah, nice.
There you go. Halo was always great because the stick
Halo
attenuation was better than the trigger attenuation. Into in Grand Theft Auto,
Yep.
you pull a trigger.
And
It's
you're-
hard to control your speed.
Yeah.
It was
Alright.
harder to control your
Back
speed
in
than
the
with
day.
a stick.
Joe, ready with
Now
the?
it's a little
sorry,
better.
Josh, ready with the
but
song?
I do like the Halo feel for sure.
Not yet.
Well, now it's a lot better. Now the
Don't go
attenuation on a trigger.
further
is
to the
awesome.
right, up
It's
the
good,
right,
yeah.
up the right. Ooh, yeah.
Good
Do a
flip,
barrel
though.
roll.
Do you get style points?
You did it quickly.
Can we subtract minutes for style points for stuff?
I haven't started yet.
hold left bump? Yep. I got a reverse. And we're going forward now. And we're going back. And we're going
Left
forward.
stick isn't camera assassless. Left stick is just drive forward, and right stick is camera. It's
Which is-
standard.
and
Which
my-
is also steer.
It's
Look the other way. Look the other way. Peter is the stick. Peter is the stick. There you go. There you go. Hard left. That's good. Okay, hard right coming up here. Nice. This is where I like the L plated with the extra. All right, we're heading for the start line, which means our time's going to start.
all right, and music's gonna start.
Oh, of course.
Ready, Bendy?
You got this. You totally got this.
You're gonna get sub 3 minutes.
Let's
for
go.
sure.
Checkpoint reached. Lap complete.
Jesus.
You hit the wall.
Did I?
Checkpoint reached.
I think I did.
We're good.
It's fine.
Down a bit, down a bit. Look it down. Yep. Hard right. Yeah, nice. We're looking down. We're going to see where we're going.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Why do you keep doing that? Are we good?
Full recovery.
Right.
Do I get style
Left
points?
it, left.
I think you get style points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again,
Left,
subtract
left,
a minute
left.
for style points.
Yeah.
Left,
If you do
left.
one more flip trick.
And now let's go start going right. Start going right. I told you, they're all bangers.
Yeah.
Okay, remember, look
Right.
for the gaps, not the rocks. Look for the gaps, not the rocks.
Oh, see now I'm overcorrecting.
Who would have thought piano?
Piano.
I know. A little bit to the right, a little bit to the right. Yes. A little bit to the left.
No, I got it.
Good. Hard left.
Oh, that was a good one. That was a good one.
Spoiler, Jeff really wants to watch this back, so
really?
yeah.
No swearing.
No, sorry.
I
Yeah.
went too hard that
Jeff is an innocent man.
Yes. All right. Now,
it's
hard
right.
right, hard right. Too hard. We're going back.
It's close. Reverse the rest of the way, and you loop.
Forward.
That's your job.
Unto dawn.
Forward. All right, slow
That's a
gradual
Halo
right
reference.
coming up.
That's a Halo reference.
Oh, I'm the rally guy. Slow right.
No,
Into easy right over jump.
You just got 6 new followers.
What?
You just
Great
go forward.
race.
Okay.
I will control the direction with my mind.
Hard right, hard right.
That's not again. Not
You're
how
up.
it works. All right. Back in. Nice.
Forward.
How many minutes remaining? 30 seconds.
138. Watch out for mines. Look down, look down.
Oh, to get to the next check.
Mine! We're fine.
That's
We're
our
fine,
total
guys.
time.
It said 30 seconds remaining.
Oh.
Jeff said 30 seconds remaining.
Oh yeah, there's 15 seconds down the bottom.
Oh no, Jeff!
Did you set a time on the?
There's a time limit on the map.
On the map.
There's no map.
Steph, you're gonna get cut off.
We can make it. Oh no!
Go forward more, guys.
Four,
going.
3, 2, 1.
Oh no!
That's all right. That's practice. It's a practice round.
It's still a practice round.
It's a practice round.
Steph gets another.
Yeah.
But is it going to cut it off?
No, because we set a timer on the thing rather than.
I forgot there is a setting here. This was a good way to show it, everyone, that there is the option to go in here and change. We'll cut this out on the YouTube one for Jeff. Game settings?
There is
10
time
minutes.
limit. Unlimited.
We could have gone unlimited, guys. No limit. All right.
There's no limit at the games with
Again.
Again.
All right, Steph's
Sorry.
immediately gone like, I'm not holding forward. She assumed
You
the
do it,
position
yeah.
of
We're
like,
holding
do
it.
it.
We had a good
Steph,
thing.
it's happening. It's going to happen straight away.
We got a good thing going.
Josh with the song.
This is it.
We're up.
Good start.
Doesn't get a rolling start though.
Well, I think
We subtract 2 seconds.
But we're doing better than the last one.
Yep.
And we can.
We're going to
well,
subtract two. You hit that same wall. We're going to subtract 2 seconds from the end score because
Unless
you
she
didn't
gets
get
the
a
same
rolling
time as me, in which case.
That's true, and then we won't.
Then we won't.
All right.
Checkpoint reached.
Ah, my ribs. Hard right. Hard. No.
Oh, Bendy.
Round and left. Slow left. Slow left.
Don't
slow
tell
left,
me
slow-
directions. Just push forward. That's your
Just
job.
push forward,
and
idiot.
I do everything else.
That's what you do, forward boy.
Checkpoint reached.
Don't look at the pillars. Look at the gaps. Look at the gaps.
Forward only, no talking.
This is good.
Is that how you guys drive home?
Yeah.
Hard right, lots of right.
Don't, guys.
There's
I will figure it out. And sometimes you tell me things after I already know, and then I overcompensate,
And that's
and then I
heaps
go
annoying.
into a wall.
And also, you just had to wash the tires.
Checkpoint reached.
The music just really makes it sing.
Whoa.
You're ahead of you last time for sure.
I'm doing great.
I'm doing great.
I will say
really
the
hard
worst,
to
the worst
control.
part of Infinite.
Yeah.
Pop.
No warthog run. No warthog run.
No
Yeah,
Warthog
totally.
Run. Yeah.
I mean, there's a huge map for it as well.
Yeah.
Put something in it.
Something.
Put a warthog run in it.
Doesn't even have to be at the end. Just somewhere.
I guess like they kind of treated the tank
run.
It's just controlling the up and down.
Tank run is not a
and
warthog.
side to side. It's a lot, you know?
Sorry.
Don't give direction. Unless you do it in the voice of Pierce Brosnan as a GPS. This time is okay.
No!
You're
Recover!
good.
Recover!
You're good.
But don't overcorrect, Stephanie.
There it is.
This is okay. It's a 2:11.
I think that was 2:10.
2:10.
I didn't see
2:10.
it.
Didn't tick over to 11.
Didn't tick over.
That's a 2:10. Minus 2 seconds.
Hold on. We'll give you a 2:08.
Great
Minus
team.
2 seconds. That's a 2:08. You got a minus 2 seconds because you didn't have the rolling start.
Oh, I love that.
Beat that, Peterborough.
I'll try. I don't know how I'm going to go with this. I haven't played Reach in a long time.
Yeah.
You
You should try after you've set your time. You should try playing with both of you, and one of you goes forward and the other goes side.
Our 2 Halo pros better than one.
There are people who play Infinite, which is the first. Drive
drive and talk.
Driving and talking. There are people who play Halo Infinite with one hand on keyboard and one hand on mouse. So they use the keyboard for movement, and they
the controller.
A keyboard and mouse.
Yeah.
They use controller.
Keyboard and mouse, my
controller
word.
for movement and some of the other interactions, and they use a mouse to aim and shoot.
You do get a little bit more fine
Yeah.
control. Yeah.
I could not get my
That's
head
my left
around
Yeah.
the forward to go. I would just rebind that to a
I think it's been so long since we all ran into that initial wall playing Halo Combat Evolved, the first Warthog time. I think that's what you guys were talking about. It was a weird thing back then, but my God, the amount of time I've spent driving one around now.
I just kept, and then I tried to be like, oh, I'll just move both simultaneously, but then the car would stop because I'd be pushing left with both of them.
It's the tough thing is, it's just the fact that you're in a vehicle is what switches. And
Yeah.
it's like, because it is exactly the same as if you weren't in the vehicle. That's the same same movement mechanics. You
Right.
push left to
Still
go
will.
forward. You look around with the other one.
Is it?
Yeah.
Tip:
Yeah.
don't hug the right-hand side. It'll launch you over the left.
That's so weird. It's
and
definitely
you can really wig out.
It's definitely a muscle
okay.
memory thing that I could not
There
retrain
weren't
my
really
brain.
many games like first-person shooters around the Halo time that had heavy vehicles. Like there was Battlefield, I think.
Was it
had
set up
vehicles?
like it in Halo because it was originally being developed for Mac as a PC or as a mouse and keyboard game? Like this would feel like the way to this would feel better with a mouse and keyboard potentially. So I just wonder if it's a hangover from that.
I feel like this would feel worse. I feel like not having the being able
Once
to
tried the
snap the
shortcut up
camera
here on the
around
left if
too
you
much
try and
would.
thread the
through that.
needle through that.
that's-
I don't
I
like
wouldn't.
it's a big risk.
Yeah.
All right, Pete's on his time trial lap. Sorry, his practice lap. He's onto the time trial lap. The last one to beat the times: 1:45, 1:46, 2:10. Set your own.
I think
at
you were
home.
147. I was 146.
Peter, take it away.
Checkpoint
sir.
reached. Lap complete. Checkpoint reached.
This is a joke version. Kazoo is lovely.
Amazing.
This is Halo and Banjo-Kazooie.
It's a YouTuber. I'll look up their name.
Yeah.
It's Kazoo and My Desk.
Oh, amazing.
That's so cute.
Is the YouTuber called Kazoo and My Desk?
No, the desk that's what the instrument they're crediting.
Yeah, right.
Nice.
Checkpoint.
Some
You're on a pretty
singing-
good run here, I
Some
think.
singing underneath the kazoo as well.
Yeah.
Still like the harmonies and everything.
Yeah. This is amazing.
Oh my god.
Little oversteer there. Little oversteer. Lost some time. Oh, and I hit a bump.
Yeah, Pete is just shredding this course.
I'm doing okay.
You're doing all right. No pressure.
There are definitely places to screw up still.
Beaver, 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 beaver.
Shout out to Juicebox, Dolphin Pants, correct. Juicebox's YouTube channel.
Nice.
For the mines. Oh, not even.
There's a
Not
nice,
even
there's a
straight
pretty
through.
clear line through this.
Peter, he's our guest. You beat him every other time in Halo.
Oh no, don't go easy on me. You don't get better by Halo people going easier.
That's true. Doth he dare thread the needle?
I doth not dare.
He doth not. Oh, it's hot.
Yeah, that was too hot. That was too hot. Lost some time there.
I think you're pretty good though.
Oh, I don't know.
It's close. It's gonna be close. Nah,
Jeez, that's
you're
looking
gonna,
bad.
you're gonna get a couple seconds ahead. 41, 2,
3. He's bloody done it.
4.
Oh!
Nice. 144. Good time. Good time.
That felt pretty clean.
That felt pretty
couple
clean,
of
yeah.
little errors.
There's
but,
room for improvement.
There's room for
there.
improvement for people at home.
Yeah,
for
I
sure.
reckon that's the thing. People
Yeah.
know how to like drift those little things, and like again, there's that
If people
needle.
take more shots at threading that needle.
Thread that needle. They're in with a chance. They're the times. I got 147, Pete 144, Joe 146, Steph 208, which makes Peter the winner of this week's challenging time.
Is this my first cup?
Potentially. There it is, folks.
Beat me at Halo again, Pete.
You can
Lovely
take this
stuff.
one if you want, no?
You got to keep it for the next one.
Those are our times. If you'd like to set your own time, you can do that. You can look up my Halo username, Goosemangus, one word, and you can look up the file share tab attached to me, and you can find the track, which is BP Challenging Times, and you'll find a rework of CK Windy Woods' track by Rush My Pancake, and you can set your own time there. Make sure you do undo the lap counter and the timer on that as well. We highly recommend listening to the Halo soundtrack, whichever game in the background. Kazoos clearly do the job, so you can do that as well. But yeah, and I mean...
And having someone else hold forward on the left thumbstick.
That helps as well. We'd usually play the sting to say, let's say that's the end of challenging time. Sorry, Peter.
As
go
you
on.
enter your time, though, if someone did hold the other stick forward for you, you have to note that next to it.
That is true. We do ask that you jump on the Discord. There's a challenging times thread that you can post your times. A little tricky with this one because there's no way to actually catalog it at the end of your race. But if you are playing on Xbox or screen recording, you can record the moment you're over the line. We'll take that as the time.
Xbox. Record Xbox.
Xbox, record that.
Record that.
Yeah, no one has a
Barge
Kinect
out of the
anymore.
office. Xbox. Xbox.
Take a screenshot.
It doesn't listen to be Xbox.
Xbox, take a screenshot.
Record that.
So
Is this Barjo?
Kinect.
Yeah. Kinect. A screenshot of you over the line with your time there. We will accept that. Do your best to try and record that as well. I know a lot of people had to do screenshots and stuff with their phone which will be really hard to do for this. Maybe a video, whatever you can do.
If you're a streamer, you got OBS going.
We just set off your Connect. But send your times in, and you might make it onto the scoreboard next time we run this challenge when we look at them at the top, and you can win yourself gloating power. Nothing else. That's all we have to offer here. But we do have the offer of that soundbite, which I'm going to play again because we totally have to.
Well, yeah. I thought you were about to say ads as your segue.
No.
To throw to the ad break.
I paid for a cameo. We're going to listen to it again. Josh, roll that
let's
sting.
do it.
Double kill. Triple kill. Checkpoint reached. Lap complete. Hello to the back pocket team. Steph, Gus, Peter, and a special welcome to Joe. Call him God. Now I hope you're ready for a segment that will have you all running riot. It's time for challenging times.
Turn it up, Josh. Oh yeah, I cut it out.
Amazing.
That was challenging times, and we're back with a little more back pocket after this. Even a little more Halo, would you believe it? After this ad break, stick with us.
Okay, game plan. Too many games. Only 60 seconds. Stay with me. I can do this. Could it be, me hearty? Skull and Bones is finally coming out? I'll believe it when my pirate ship hits the high seas ready for plunder. Ultros is a psychedelic Metroidvania with just stunning neon art. Fight Crab 2 is one of those dumb meme games that I really want to ignore because I'm better than that, but actually I'm not, and I'm definitely going to play it. Don't nod, the developers of Life is Strange have been working on a fantasy RPG called Banish's Ghosts of Eden out this week. Mario vs. Donkey Kong. Who will win? The loser gets retroactively erased from every Nintendo game ever released, so the stakes are high. Shift time and summon clones to fight behind you in Lasfanga Time Shift Warrior. Arzette, the Jewel of Faramore, draws inspiration from the infamous Zelda CDI games of the 90s. Lovecraftian visual novel Sucker for Love has a sequel called Date to Die For. And OG Lara Croft fans can rejoice in Tomb Raider 1 to 3 Remastered. Whew, I thought this year was going to be chill, but boy was I wrong. What are you playing?
If you've ever been interested in a comic, ever wanted to try out a comic, or wanted to hear about a comic, not just superhero ones, we've also got indie ones that we cover. Come check out the Edo Discord for the monthly comic club that's there.
But yeah, she just died. Rip Queen Lizzie, right? I think we were talking about it, and I kind of just once again, let my mouth go first and then my brain later, and very quickly brought an L up to my forehead and went, rip! And the second I did it, I went, oh!
You know, when it had happened while we were writing the second live show, and while we were out on the road, my favorite part of the night, I'd say, is a segment where I enlarged unflattering photos of people who had died that year. One of which being a very, very close frame of Queen Lizzie herself. It's just part of the bit. It worked its way in, but it was, I'm with you on the same dark sense of humor.
Think a conditioner can't improve the health of your hair? Think again. Meet the La Frenais Hair Rejuvenation Cream by Super Studios. This powerful new formula will make your locks thick and strong like the hind flanks of a majestic bison. And bison have good hair. Mega Watt Shine. Impossibly strong. Just one wash will instantly double the girth of each strand of your hair. Yeah, I said girth, because you want people to think of your hair as girthy. That's the La Frenais effect. Still need more volume? Apply our Comb Through Activating Powder. It's packed full of hydrocuticle, peptide crystal, marine mineral, mushroom milk extract. And of course bison, for the girth. Because you deserve the thickest of the thick. Live your most luscious life with La Frenay. Like Michael J. Fox and Teen Wolf, you're ready for a night on the town with the girls with the application of the La Frenay Mega Nourish Finishing Oil. Now you can finally attain your ultimate fursona, all hair. Say goodbye to thin, timid tresses and usher in a new Yeti you.
Snow cone?
The La Frenay Hair Range by Super Studios. It will happen overnight, so prepare yourself.
Welcome back to the show. We saw there a new word from the sponsor from Joshy. It's comics. We need new words from the sponsors. So if you've got an idea, put it on tape, put a word at the end of it, send it in. You can find the form on the Discord, so please do that.
So you get props if you butcher the pockety like Joshy did and made a new version of it.
Vaginal pockety.
I like it.
We're okay with it. Wouldn't work on TikTok though.
No.
Ads. We saw the game plan. A lot of good games coming out this week. We saw Connor Frenay, Super Studios hair product, which I used this morning. Works great for me. And we saw a tease for the podcast. Ruby, Garrett's coming up this week. Tomorrow.
Tell us about it.
Good buddy Garrett's coming on the show, talking about Mega 64 and all his work on it, as well as just kind of YouTube in general. Talk a bit about talking shit.
Well, you guys have known each other for quite a long time, and there's a nice dynamic in tomorrow's episode where you have history together and you talk about making stuff that no one listened to. No offense. And now
excuse me.
And now making stuff that obviously he's working for Mega 64. You work for the mega corporation that is Back Pocket.
What are you talking about?
You're both kicking goals.
We gave you a chance to spruik it and you said I talk shit. So come on, what do you got?
No, we didn't talk shit about you. We just talk shit in general.
Okay.
You guys take stuff so personally.
Ruby.
What do you mean?
Ruby, sell me this podcast. Sell me this podcast.
I already did.
I'm just talking about the
confidence.
You pay me to make it now.
The show that you made together in the past. You were making together when you were both learning how the platforms were working and stuff like that.
No, it was a podcast with about 10 people on it. My brother made it. It was awesome. Gaming Cult podcast. Shouts out. But that podcast went for about 10 years, and it was awesome. Had a lot of the Big 64 crew, and it was the best when we got to talk about that. But it's a really fun podcast, and it's coming out tomorrow at 10 a.m.
Find out more tomorrow.
Nice.
We've got one more segment for you tonight, and it is a double whammy. It is Pocket Watch on other screens.
You got to write this down.
No, because we agreed.
The segment's just got on other screens
Yeah.
A Pocket Watch segment.
of Back Pocket.
By.
On other screens is brought to us by Dump Days.
Game over.
Oh, we know that voice. Friend of the show.
Disappointing. Friend of the show.
Here he is now.
Yeah.
For the right price.
He said Joe and Gog.
And Gog.
That's fucking so
You
cool.
can buy friends, guys. I didn't know
They'll talk to you if you pay them.
Dump Days is an amazing comic artist. Drew the Ibis that you can see right there, and drew the comic that we're about to read to you. Let's see panel number 1, please. Joe, would you like to be the man in the dumpster?
Hey, I found something amazing.
Food?
Even better.
Money?
Didn't change the art, so a little
That's
lazy.
It's a working Nintendo 64 with GoldenEye.
Final panel.
But we still need food.
Nostalgia will sustain us. The childhood memories are our friend. Food now. Our friends and our food.
Our friends are not food.
And our food.
Our food
Lovely
and our
work.
I
friends.
love that.
I mean,
I love that.
He's not wrong.
You reckon you could sustain yourself entirely off GoldenEye?
Just off general nostalgia and, sadness for what I once had.
Anytime I pick up one of those N64 controllers, I'm instantly like, I'm so glad we moved on from this.
I agree. Someone who loves
They
them.
are way worse than
That was
you
just
remember.
literally a bunch of people were like, I don't know.
Yeah. I think I might have mentioned this. I saw a great a post where it was like Xbox controllers like iterating. It's like, we're getting this. PlayStation, it's like, I think we've got this as well. And there was all the Nintendo controllers, and it was like, dude, I'm fucking hard. Every version was just like, I don't know.
I love that they tried everything.
I love jump tests.
On other screens, we talk about things we've been watching on other screens. Tonight, Joe is going to kick us off. Tell us what you've been watching on other screens.
Would you believe it?
Tell
A
me.
little show
No.
called Halo.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. Yes, Halo finally has season 2 for the amazing season 1.
Yeah.
Which,
wait, really?
I enjoyed season 1.
Okay.
Like season 1.
I enjoyed season 1. I'm not even a Halo guy.
It's a great, a good interpretation, which is frustrating in many ways for Halo fans.
Which you are.
Which I am. But I can also divorce myself enough from being like that person to just like, and I work in TV. I appreciate like the amount of effort that went into this.
Yep.
And that season, I think as well, had like a lot of heavy lifting to do in terms of trying to tell the origin story.
Sure.
It was telling the story that's not in the games.
Yeah.
It's kind of in the books. It's in comics. It's a lot of stuff that they wanted to get through, like Chief as a child, the origin of the Spartans, who Dr. Halsey is, where the Covenant come from, blah, blah, blah. They had to like cram that all in. I don't think they did a perfect job with all of it by any means, but I binged through it leading up to season 2. It's a very enjoyable sci-fi show.
Sorry, so you watched all of it?
Yes.
You watched
We
all of
watched
it?
all of season 1 together. Yeah.
I
Haven't
fell off
started
after
season
ep
2.
3, so I'm just curious on everyone's take on it.
I got into like fights with people online about this, which is so dumb because I'm not even like invested in this show. But I stand by the idea that when you're making a port, like an interpretation of something for a different platform, it needs to be approached in a different way.
Sure.
Like everyone wanting this to be like the Halo video game as a TV show, like 1 for 1. It's like that you're having to market this show to more people than just Halo fans, and it has to work as a storytelling on a different platform. So I think that they had to, like, the whole thing about him taking off his helmet and stuff like that was a whole.
Look, I think the helmet coming off debate is silly because, like, in the lore, in the books, as Master Chief, he's not a guy who like lives and showers and sleeps in a suit. Like that's not who he is. So he can take his helmet off. That's fine. There were some instances where it's like helmet came on, helmet came off, it's just like
he's getting
he
shot
should,
at,
in
helmet
that
comes
in
off.
that
It's like,
instance
what?
he should be like the helmet should be staying on. So they messed that up a little bit to the point where it's like it already was contentious. And they just rubbed the salt in.
I'm intrigued. Okay, so season 2, like I'm just intrigued that you were into it because I fell off at 3 and heard there was a lot of problems with it. So I just had assumed that everyone else had problems. But okay. Look, you've got me back on the fact that you got through it.
And I think as well the thing I think they struggled with a bit for me was just the introducing the Covenant. Like they should have felt like this. They didn't really sell the story of the universe in the sense that humanity is this big, has expanded, and all of a sudden we've got contact, with aliens. Like that's a big deal.
Yeah.
The Covenant rocking up with the first alien contact we ever had, and they just started wiping us off the face of every planet they found us on. And in this, it's kind of like they're like, oh, there's some aliens
They're
there.
around.
Yeah.
Like,
we've got another story to tell.
It felt like there were a lot of different political space things happening, and that was just like one touch
there's
point.
some aliens or whatever. Like that should be a big deal.
Totally. And the Halo game comes in partway through the story, right? Like that contact has been made and the conflict is happening. And
come in late. There's already everything's established. Yeah.
But there are books that flesh out first contact and that kind of stuff in a really interesting way. And obviously Reach is like an early version of the power of the Covenant being shown off, of a colonization being completely just glassed. But they were so, I think, torn between telling the first contact story, which is probably more interesting from a television perspective, and the Master Chief and Cortana,
the origin story of the Spartans.
So launch into 2 because I saw the trailer for 2, and again, my spark of interest for this series peaked because it's a shit hot trailer that has like some great visuals, and I was like, ooh, this. Wanting the story looks like the game.
I think one thing they also kind of got wrong a little bit in season 1. It was hit and miss. It was the effects and just the vibe of it.
Sure.
It almost like the vibe of it was going for like actually Halo the game in a little bit, like a little bit bright and colorful and Power Rangers-y. Which is fine, but also for what Halo should be on screen, I think is what season 2's getting, which is like military, gritty, brutal war.
Remember that
You
Neil
kinda need to
Blomkamp,
you need
Peter
to-
Jackson short?
Yeah.
Everyone wanted that.
I felt like some of the the sort of the people and the sort of communities felt a bit costumey.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It felt like
Yep.
like
100%.
Year 12 Fashion Week, various iterations of this blue sci-fi outfit in different forms.
And like the Forerunner artifact thing that looks like a piece of styrofoam.
Yeah,
like it looks a lot of it looks a bit proppy, but then there are moments like the Spartan armor looks really good. Some of the
warthogs
fight
look
scenes are really good. The warthogs, like some of the alien designs, they've nailed a lot of they've nailed all the guns.
I wonder how much of it looks
yeah.
like styrofoam because we've seen so much of it as cosplay and at events and things, and so we just see it and go, well, that has to be that.
Just,
but
I don't know. Like it's like they should have got a stone carver or something to. I don't know. Just, it
no,
looks
no,
cheap.
I'm with you.
know,
Yeah.
like-
His suit looked pretty good though.
His suit looked great.
I thought that looked like
Yeah.
I felt the
there
heaviness
are again
of it.
some moments where you're like, oh, there's poor actors in these things. Like
Yeah,
you see them trying to walk.
yeah,
like,
yeah.
Looks a little stiff.
2
But pretty good,
episodes
pretty
for
good.
season 2 are out.
2, yeah.
But
Well, the
3
third one's
as
out
of
tonight.
Yeah.
Third one's
So
out
we're
tonight.
all gonna go home and watch episode 3.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah, and I think they've got that right in season 2. The grittiness is there. Some of the action's really good. Yeah.
Do they start on a strong foot for
establishing good
F1?
arc.
Like,
like again, it's a bit hit and miss. There's some storylines that are coming in, and you're like, I don't want to. Why are we here? Why are we spending time with these people? Like, obviously, it'll pay off as the season progresses.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I enjoyed going back to binge season 1 was those storylines that are frustrating week to week. Like, why are we wasting time here? When you binge it, you're just like, oh, great, that was fun.
yeah, okay.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
week to week, it does feel, like
Yeah,
they're
you-
just padding for padding's sake.
Yeah, a little.
I really liked the whole kind of sort of Master Chief questioning why he is the way he is and how all that kind of stuff, and the sort of other Spartans that were sort of coming to terms with that stuff. I thought that was interesting, but it seemed like from other people I spoke to, they weren't interested in that story, and they felt like it was.
It is. I think that's one of the things that is hard for them to tackle because realistically, if you were given that information that you had been abducted and brainwashed, and you would have a bad reaction to that. Like,
Yeah.
you're not just gonna be like,
And to me,
oh,
that-
whatever. I'm just a super soldier
that-
now, and I have to protect humanity. Well, I'm cool with that. Like,
Yeah, the instantly that
reaction.
kind of humanized him in a way that I was like, oh, I'm actually interested now in who he is as a character and the journey that he's going on. Whereas I feel like other people were just like, no, Chief is just like he saves the world and he doesn't care about that stuff.
I think what pushed it over the edge was there was one scene where he's realized that, and he goes to basically like flying punch Dr. Halsey, like a man in armor goes to like punch an old woman or middle-aged woman in this case, and you're like, Jesus Christ, Chief, like restrain yourself a little.
At least
like,
do the
like you would kill her.
At least do the butt win from
Yeah,
the back
like,
when she
totally.
spawns and just
So-
do the like.
Chief as a character is a bit more stoic, and
Yeah,
he shouldn't
right.
be so like emotional and obviously horny was a big deal.
I heard.
First season, people
Butts
had
were
me-
shown.
Butts were shown.
Butts
Sex
were
was
shown.
had with a POW.
Sex
which
was watched.
Sex was watched
By
by
an AI.
By an AI who's
Yeah.
essentially also his mum in a weird way.
Yeah.
Oh, we've all been there.
So, but I mean, this is all kind of interesting. Like
It totally is
you
all
know.
kind
Yeah,
of
yeah.
interesting. It's like there's a lot of the games have more time to tell the little intricacies of the story, even though they're not exclusively narrative. It gets dropped with Cortana interacting with you as you're playing through 3 games. If you take the trilogy as kind of like that story setup, and this is trying to do a little bit too much right at the start.
Yeah.
Like again, I think the war and the threat to humanity is the setting for the first Halo game, and then you learn more about Chief, Cortana, Keys, the intricacies of it all as you get a little deeper into the second and third game. So you've already established threat, whereas this is trying to establish threat, but sidetracks it because of like the treatment of the children that become the Spartans. And it's like it's trying to push that up to the front alongside everything else. So
But
I'm really interested
it's
to
so
jump
hard
into
because
season
to sell people on the story, you have to get them emotionally invested in characters,
characters,
and that kind
100%.
of stuff. So when you're like war, people are like,
Yeah, you can't just be pure action.
yeah,
Like, I mean,
yeah.
the amount of movies I've gone to see where it is pure action, you're like, this is nonsense. You know, a Michael Bay movie, like it's great and spectacle, but there's no heart to it a lot of the time. So you need that heart.
How many episodes in total? The potentially. For
I
the
think
season?
there's 8.
Eight and eight.
Eight for
Okay.
this one. There was 9 in the first one, I think, and 8 in
There
this
was a
one.
9th, wasn't there?
I mean, I think the thing that speaks to the fact that I enjoy it is I'm really keen for it to get renewed for 3 more seasons at least, because I want to see it. I'm pretty sure this season's Reach is the game, and then I would bet good money this season ends on them arriving at Halo, setting up season 3.
It's only been 2 seasons of a show called Halo until they get
so if
to the Halo.
if it doesn't get renewed and they don't bloody well get to land on a Halo, I'm gonna be really frustrated.
That was the other conversation was there was a lot of money spent in that first season, so they've got to make sure
keeping
that
their powder dry for 2 seasons.
Yeah. Cool.
And Flood. I want to see the Flood on screen.
A bit of horror.
I'm
desperate for that.
Yeah.
Steph, what are you watching?
I watched the Last of Us 2 documentary, the Naughty Dog Last of Us 2 documentary, which I was super excited to see because anytime I watch any kind of developer documentaries, it always feels like such a wonderful, I guess, insight into a process that we don't get to hear about a lot. And
do a trick.
This I think what's important to know about it from the get-go is that it was made. A lot of this is just footage that's just been sitting unedited for ages because they were making this documentary, through the process of planning and development and everything. So when the documentary starts and they're sort of talking through the process and their ideas for the game, I don't know why I kind of assumed it would be a retrospective documentary about the making of it. But all of that initial perspective is before the game was released and there was a reaction to it and the kind of furor that happened around it. So you get to kind of live in this space, this kind of wonderful space before that all happened, where they're just like, this is our idea for the sequel. Yeah, this is the stuff that we're trying. And this is kind of what we're hoping people will get from it, based on the direction that we're going. And we know that it's going to be like intense and powerful and emotional and, divisive, but it was free of the weight of all of that, of the reaction that happened. I think also what was really interesting from the outset is that they sort of talked about the R&D process of the game, and that they initially, and this is I think quite common for a lot of video games, but I had no idea that it goes quite far down this process. Well, like, let's try all of these different iterations of what the sequel could be. So it wasn't. There was a point where it was like a Bloodborne-y thing, and they were kind of going down that path of making it more like open world and it was completely melee focused, and had a completely different approach to just the gameplay at a basic level, like at a genre level. And there were all of these different ideas that they had, and then they would kind of pair them back, and then they would use that process to kind of find what they wanted the core of the game to be. And even though they ended up going back to a more not quite as linear as the first game, but more of a linear action-adventure game.
It took some swings, which now looking at it, you're like, they had to get there by pushing the envelope even further and then really get back to
all of that sort of sandboxy, like just try things, period, kind of gives them those cool moments that end up happening.
Yeah.
So I found that really interesting. And then I also really liked that they talked a lot about, I guess, the kind of crunch process that they had to go through, because at the same time as making this, they were also shipping... they were finishing and shipping Uncharted 4.
Right.
And so...
Lost Legacy.
Oh, sorry, yes.
The DLC.
Yeah.
Which is
Lost
a good
Legacy.
example of them pushing out that mechanics and like what a game can be. It's like Uncharted is an open world. So maybe that was even a little part of them being like, can we do open world stuff? And how does that work? And
Totally. But, there were times when, they were so excited to kind of get this title out there for people to kind of see that they were working on it. But at the same time, they had to then stop what they were doing and divert all of their resources onto shipping Lost Legacy. And I think for the dev team, that was really tough. And this was even like pre-COVID. And then I think on top of that, I didn't realize when you make games like this, like I kind of assumed you make a skeleton of a mostly finished video game, and then you kind of go adding layers on top of it, visuals and mechanics and fine-tuning and stuff like that, which is not really the way it happens. Like they would make a completely finished vertical slice of the game and show that to people to be like, this is what the game is going to be. And then they would just continue to work on and almost finish it section by section.
Right.
Which is not how I thought that this kind of game development
it was more
happened.
of a holistic build-up kind of layers of paint versus we'll just keep propping up.
Do you think that's just like Naughty Dog's way, or is that more common?
I think so. I think part of it is because they want to ship stuff and show people finished things as to kind of build hype and stuff. But also I think it sets a standard for the developers that they have to keep, which is a lot of pressure for them, because they're like, well, we kind of don't want to, we've found actually that introducing this rain mechanic or whatever, and this level is just kind of making it all so much harder. But we've shown in this demo or whatever at E3 or whatever that that's a thing. So now we have to uphold that, and we can't compromise on how any of this looks because that's the standard we've already set. And
you
people
polish
have seen.
that first element or pillar so much that everything else has to either meet it or beat it, because otherwise, you can't go, oh, it really falls away from that point. Or at least a developer with like Naughty Dog will not let that slide. They'll say it has to all be just as, if not better.
Yeah.
I found, and I've only watched half of this.
Sounds excruciating.
Another interesting thing about this is that it talks about the whole process, not just development and not just the individual teams that are working on individual parts of the game. Like you watch people doing the Foley for different parts of it, and they're working out how to make bloody meaty sounds and stuff like that.
Hit your desk.
But marketing as well. Hit your desk and play a kazoo. But like the marketing of it and how audience perception and how anything they put out is going to be, they're circling a bloody wound on a knuckle and going, this is a bit too much. It's distracting. People are going to look at that and pull something from that we don't want them to pull from it.
Yeah.
Just like it's controlling the messaging, or at least their way of understanding that they can't control the messaging totally. So what they can and can't say. It's really just a fascinating look at one of the biggest, most successful studios in games and how they do it. And assuming that not every studio works in exactly the same way, but
obviously,
they're one of the ones that are doing it really well. So it's interesting to see all those parts.
Yeah, and I think, and to that point as well, one of the criticisms that was kind of leveled against them was that they were kind of misleading in the stuff that they put out there. But they kind of go into explaining here that people pick everything apart so much and predict the whole story from the smallest things, like things that you wouldn't think they would, to the point where they have to almost deliberately mislead people just to stop people from guessing and extrapolating the whole story from the few grabs that they get given.
The red herring being that scene where they put a character who wasn't there in there, again, not trying to reach into spoilers, but bold move, and I've watched the clip of them being like, I don't know if we should have done that, but they're also like, but you did it, I fucking respect that you did it, and it's interesting to hear them at least just circle back for that conversation.
And I think what I didn't quite grasp as well when the game kind of came out, and well, at least when the kind of conversation around it was just so negative, and it was such an intense time, and it really colors my experience of this game, which is so sad because it's still to this day one of the greatest games I've ever played and one of the most powerful gaming experiences I've ever had. But when the leaks happened, I just immediately was like, did my best to ignore them because I was like, I don't want to see any of this. I don't want to know about it. I don't want
people would want to ruin that for themselves.
Yeah, totally. But because of that, I didn't fully understand just how much of an impact the leaks had on the reaction. Like, I just thought people were reacting to the story beats that people were upset about. I didn't realize that the fact that everyone was kind of in this sort of pressure cooker space from COVID, and then these leaks happened and people saw major story moments from the game completely out of context and without having they do a lot in this game to kind of build up the feelings that you have about certain characters so that when the game shifts in another direction, you have a whole half of a game and a story that you've been on to set you up for what the next thing is. Yeah. So when you see those big moments out of context, it just kind of drove people crazy. And for them to have spent so long trying to, present this game in a way that is preparing people for the journey that they're going to go on and have that all kind of torn away and just destroyed, there's a line in there where Neil Druckmann is just like, when I found out about those leaks and the stuff, the moments they leaked, it was like I just heard someone had died. Like, it was just this part of my life had just been destroyed because everything that we'd worked so hard for was just
so brutal,
taken away.
Yeah.
And it was just, I
mean, I got to admit, I remember there being a lot of backlash around the Last of Us 2 release and story and stuff, but it was a backlash I just never understood. I was like, this game's fantastic. You all need to I mean, it's ludicrous. Calm down.
I mean, so much of it is tied up in broader, misogynistic, kind of
Does this doco stop
and just this
at
weird ownership over it?
Does this doco stop at they address some of the feedback, the backlash, but it kind of stops at launch. Like I imagine, as you said,
there is
post-launch.
The actor interviews are definitely post-launch, and I think there's some Druckmann interviews post-launch as well.
Yeah. And they kind of like lightly sort of go on, and they talk about the TV show, and they talk about
great.
They go through all of that and stuff, and there's
but as you said, you were surprised by how much of it is actually during process and some stuff that's like BTS while they're making it.
And I guess all of the kind of like the storytelling in that from the developer perspective in that early part of the documentary is all like while it was happening.
Yeah.
I just kind of thought it would be like, when we set out to make this game, this is what we wanted, and we had no idea that this was going to happen. It was like, we're so excited, we're about to make this game, and it's just like, you're sent back to what it would have been like to be in that space of excitement, and for them it must be so bittersweet to watch that footage and be like, remember?
I would say if you played the game and enjoyed it, you should definitely watch this. If you're interested in games and you haven't played it and you plan on playing it, avoid it because it's just all spoilers. But definitely get around to watching it after you play the game as well, because it's just an interesting insight into the game development industry.
Yeah. It was really awesome.
Again,
really
I imagine it's such a polished game, such a great studio. If they're going to put something like this out, it's going to be very engaging from start to finish kind of thing.
Man, Season 2 is going to be rough to watch of that.
The show. We'll come back to that. We'll get back to
season 2 of that as well. Gus, tell me what you've been watching.
This is just a brief recommendation of something I caught the other day that transfixed me for the full duration, which was, for anyone who doesn't know or hasn't watched any of HBomberguy's stuff on YouTube, I'm sure there's a lot of fans in the chat, does amazing video essays, is a British video essayist and incredibly good writer and comedian, who did some videos that have popped off more recently. He does about 1 or 2 a year. That's about it. And they're very in-depth. But I caught one recently looking back through some of their stuff from previously, and I watched one called, I forgot the title, Pathologic is Genius and Here's Why. And it's basically a 2 hour, 15-minute breakdown of a game called Pathologic, which came out in 2005, which is this game you've probably never heard of, and you've definitely never played, and it's because it's an incredibly brutally hard game by a Russian developer called Ice Pick Lodge. And essentially it is him breaking down why this is one of the most brutal games ever created, and all its systems, and essentially talks you through all the playthroughs of how you what you would experience by playing this game, so you never have to. And I'm so glad I watched it and therefore finished watching it and will never play it, because HBomberguy is like a self-confessed fan of brutally difficult games like Bloodborne's and all that kind of stuff, and Dark Souls and all that kind of stuff. But Multifish, a lot of people shouting out love for this. This game essentially, I won't sum it up because you should watch the video. And again, just like it's such a good little thing to put on in the background. You don't even need to really watch it. Once you've seen kind of like 15 minutes of the footage, you get to grips with what the game is. It's very dated in the sense that, it's very bleak. It's about a plague-ridden town. You play as 3 different protagonists. You've got 12 days to play through, and then you return and play as the other 2 protagonists, but they are also playing in the other 2 playthroughs by an AI and making bad choices, and it just gets dark and surreal and twisted. But HBomberguy is an incredible does an incredible analysis of it and pulls all the subtext out of it almost like it's a work of literature, which I think this is quite close to. The developers of it are drawing from Russian literature and kind of like a lot of the just oppression that developing in a country like that or over the many years, you could draw these just dark themes out of that just I don't think anyone in our like Australian or sort of other countries would be able to do. And again, just absolutely beating their head against a wall of like reaching every fail state and saying why it's too hard, and then saying, so no one would ever go further than this. I went further than this, and here's what I found. And that goes on for 2 hours, and it's engaging the whole way through. I love his sense of humor. If you haven't seen any of his other videos, maybe start on one of the more recent ones, breaking down the Roblox oof. The most recent one is the plagiarism dramas.
Yeah, a few people in chat were calling that one out.
That's huge, and takes on some really serious issues, but does it in a way that is just like, I have such respect for them. And going back to some of their more video game focused ones, breaks down Bloodborne, breaks down Fallout 3, and in such a comical way with such a great speaking voice, but also just incredible writing and dumb as well. Like has dumb fun with it. So it's fun the whole way through. And again, absolute goat, like as a YouTuber, and not much stuff that it's long, but there's not a lot. Like again, works really hard on it and drops these videos.
There's volume in there's only a few videos, but there's still plenty of
Totally.
duration to absorb.
Hit
yeah.
pause, watch it over 3 days or something, and
Yeah.
come back to it. But again, just the breakdown of that game is, I love the idea of it. It's kind of like a Deus Ex style open world with some messed up stuff. But again, I will never play it. They suggest at the end of it to maybe check out the sequel, but I'm not going to do that. But in the way that I was taken on a journey through the game to see everything that was in there that was brutal, dark, wonderful. Watch it. It's great. Pathologic is genius, and here, There's Why by HBomberguy is my suggestion.
There you go.
Nice.
That
Lovely.
is what we've been watching on other screens.
Here's the sting.
Yeah.
Oh no! Oh, God damn it!
Do you want me to push forward?
Stick around for the post show.
Joe, are you going to stick around for the post show?
Thank you, Joe.
Yes.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes, I will.
For the post show. The post show is sponsored by Osnaminator.
5 minutes remaining.
That's probably true.
Yay! Well, I wasn't game over at the end.
Yeah, I love
Oh,
that.
but 5 minutes remaining is perfect. Sorry, I apologize.
love that.
That is great.
For Osnaminator, we like to do a little bit of Aussie rhyming slang and try and guess what that Aussie rhyming slang is referring to. Things like hit the frog and toad means to hit the road. There she is, oh little
Shaved dog
Franken-
means, get on the log. That's another
Get
one.
on, get on a log. Yeah, you heard it here first. I would like to know,
Yes.
Please.
Me too.
all of you, what is a sand shoe?
Doing a poo.
Interesting.
Josh? Sound effect?
I don't know the answer.
No, I meant the
Don't-
babow.
don't-
Not a poo. No, sorry.
I thought you meant. I was like, he's not going
Thank
to do
you.
a poo sound effect. Why would he?
I'm incorrect.
That's awful. If that is incorrect,
Okay, Joe?
Sandshoe.
Didgeridoo.
that's a good one.
That
That's
is
not.
good.
That's not correct.
Handshoe is just
Sand shoe.
handshoe.
Just a hand shoe.
It's just a handshoe. A sandshoe is a shoe that you put on your hands.
It is. But
Stop it, bro.
That's not what we're looking for here.
Okay.
Let's tighten up the end of the show, guys. We can do this. Come on. Sandshoe
If I was to
is.
say, sand shoe so much
Thank you,
for
Sandshoe.
coming
Sandshoe.
tonight.
Sandshoe.
Sand shoe. Thank you so much, Osnaminator.
Sandshoe. I was
Yeah,
nominated.
sand shoe so much.
There it is.
Thank you so much for supporting the show. Joe, thank you so much for being a guest.
thank you for having me.
And
I've
for
had a
talking about Halos.
The first thing I said when Pete asked me to be on, I was like, "Can I talk about Halo?"
And I said, "Do you want to talk about the TV show or the game?" And you said,
Yes.
Yes. What have you got coming up? What's going on in your life?
Just working at the ABC. We're working on a lot of stuff. Can't really reveal anything.
Ooh.
Not allowed to
Mysterious.
reveal things.
Okay.
But yeah, we're working on stuff. The show's ticking along. We've
Yep.
been filming things, and
Nice.
stuff is coming. So
Stay subscribed.
to ABC Gamer and
YouTube.com/
ABC TV Gamer. I wanna
ABC
say.
TV
Yeah.
Gamer.
Sucks when you have to put that extra little
Yeah,
thing in
yeah,
there.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
ABC
damn it.
Gamer was
Yeah.
taken already.
Like an
Yep.
underscore.
Underscore AUS.
Yeah.
Back underscore
Damn those
pocket.
people at a big cum gamer.
Thank
Socials.
you so much.
Lots of big stuff coming. Yes, sir. Big stuff. Oh yeah.
You got nothing going on, dude.
We got
ABC
nothing.
Gamer on TikTok as well, isn't it?
Yeah, what
ABC Gamer on TikTok.
ABC
yeah.
Gamer on TikTok.
Yeah.
That's
Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning into the show. Back Pocket wouldn't be able to happen without your support and your patronage on Patreon. So consider subscribing at any tier, but specifically at the tier that gives you access to the post show, because that's coming up next, and I think you'll really, really enjoy it.
You'll like it because we're going to watch the entire message from old mate, friend of the
Watch.
show, Jeff.
It'll be video.
Yeah.
It's a cameo.
It's a cameo. It's wild.
Wow.
I'll tell you the whole story, but come along to the post show. It's heaps of fun.
And if you can't support us on Patreon, we'd just love it if you could share the show with your friends or just share our social stuff. That really, really helps us a lot. Just kind of, with the algorithm and things like that. Head to backpocket.gg for all of our links to our socials and our Discord. We'll be back next week. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Let's back it out.
That's the show, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.